Hey, safe to say I'm the biggest, the largest. Been stepping on shit since my mama stayed in them apartments. Regardless, my daddy told me keep the heat even when I'm in foreigns. I'm heartless, cause these niggas is hating on me just because I'm the biggest, the largest, the biggest, the largest. 30K on my riches for hard times. These niggas just mad cause they bitchin' my archives. Jordan came back, so the 4-5. If you play, then you lay right there by your own kind. Pull up a 4 in a loco, tell them run this bitch back like so-so. Got this rap shit here in the chokehold. Did a show out in Austin, shout out to Bobo. Moved out the trenches, now look how we live. Tell my BM to furnish the crib. Walk out the mall with some shoes for the kids. Deposit the checks from my bank full of M's. Paid up my rent, now I'm up for the year. The view look crazy from here. What I paid for some dogs could've bought me veneers. Texas piece on my neck could've bought your career. Safe to say I'm the biggest, the largest. Been stepping on shit since my mama stayed in them apartments. Regardless, my daddy told me keep the heat even when I'm in foreigns. I'm heartless, cause these niggas is hating on me just because I'm the biggest, the largest, the biggest, the largest. Stuffing Cali blood weed in the blunt. Let my little brother roll in my Dutch. My little boy get
what up?
Madam T don't be asking for much. Pouring lean on the nuggets and runs.
The intro's made with AI? Nah, bro. Animators. Good ones.
Standing on business, we shooting the punch. Hey, man, nigga, go get you some money. I just got off a tour, finna go on another one. Album done, finna drop me another one. Couple M's, finna run up another one. Super Bowl ring, shit, I had to go do. Safe to say I'm the biggest, the largest. Been stepping on shit since my mama stayed in them apartments.
Yeah, baby, let's go. Congrats on the milli. Thank you.
The largest, the biggest, the largest.
Hey. The biggest, the fattest, the fartest. Dude, it's so funny that like TikTok songs are like 2 minutes. What's up, dudes? Check out some NCS songs. They're fire, copyright free too. Oh, perfect. What's NCS? He sounds big. Yeah, he's a big boy. Big old feller. How you guys doing? Hooah! Hooah! Hope everyone's having a grand old evening. Who picks the Twist of History topics, if I can ask? I don't know, honestly. I know they have like a bunch of script writers, but it's quite a few layers of, back and forth, so I'm just sitting there waiting for it to show up on my desk. If you know Alan Walker, he makes songs for NCS. Oh, I wanted to ask you guys. My buddy was saying today he was watching, what the hell's that, like, show? Wheel of Fortune? I think it was Wheel of Fortune. Or maybe Wheel of Fortune or Jeopardy or something like that. I think it was Wheel of Fortune. And he said somebody on there said that he was a horror story narrator as his job. And I think he said he had like a podcast or YouTube channel or something. And I was like genuinely curious, like who it was, because I couldn't, I don't know where you find like the latest information on like Wheel of Fortune. EWU. It was me. Yeah, it was Jolpert. I was on an episode of Jolperty. I got every question wrong. Hey, Major X ALB with the AED 75 says, been sleeping your story for 2 years now. Thank you. You should make more Jinn stories. Oh yeah, we definitely got some paranormal stuff coming up here soon. What's up, Beth? What's up, guys? The conservative, the one and only conservative. How do you start this journey being horror story narrator? I just started it 2014. Just read pretty much anything. Initially it was like Wikipedia pages and like science fiction, and then I found the scary stories like Community, creepypastas and all that kind of stuff, and just sort of started doing those and started taking off. Mainly from collaborating with other people. What's up, Tea Time? Oh man, you just learned what Jinn were after having a dream about it. Really? Wait, you had a dream first and then looked it up? Was it like a premonition of sorts? Is it like a premonition of sorts? How long till I started seeing progress? So it took about 3 years before things like really popped off. And honestly, it had a lot to do with the with a trend, right? So if you look at every YouTube channel that kind of like really starts to like pop off like decently, it usually centers around some type of topic or trend that they then hone in on. With mine, it was the true scary stories. As you can see, I still do now. Did I practice my readings and listens back? Not really, no. I just kind of kept doing it, and then, I don't know, made minor changes as I went along. Like initially I sounded like much more silly, and then I sounded super dark, and then I found somewhere in between that just kind of, it just feels a lot more natural and not forced or slow. I have news for you, Joel. 28 years later, The Bone Temple, a sequel, literally within a year. Yeah, I remember they were filming it directly after, which, I don't know, maybe the budget, they just knew it was going to work or whatever. Just started your YouTube art caricature channel. That's cool. What do you just draw on a tablet or something, Fry? The silly to dark to in between pipeline. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta like overshoot and find somewhere in the middle ground. What's up, Luca? 911 Google, I'm gay. Google, I'm gay. Actually discovered you when I was watching Horror Story Animated. Your narration was always there, and I locked in immediately because your narration was soft and smooth and held my attention. Nice, I appreciate that. Yeah, I guess there was some benefit from letting some of those channels just use the, you know, any publicity is good publicity. Even though I think some people think that like that's them narrating, you know, because it's a little confusing. What's up, Mork? Found me on Spotify and been with you ever since. Thanks, dude. What did I do today? Well, I went to the gym, and then after I got done with the gym, I had to like babysit for a while my buddy took his other daughter to karate. What's the next long compilation video? I feel like it was kind of recently, so probably not for a while. But yeah, then after that we went and got dinner. I won't lie, I skipped over you a lot. YouTube always suggested you after Mr. Ballin, so one day I gave in. Oh, thank you, I appreciate that. That's all it takes. It's just enough repetition, and you eventually give in. I do have the, you know, the true crime channel, the Saturn Soul channel, which is, you know, I guess technically me as Mr. Ballin, but, you know, true crime stuff if you ever want to check it out. Simone Archibald, thank you. What's up, Joe? How you been? Haven't been in a couple of weeks, but yesterday my birthday, I'm feeling spicy. Nice, happy late birthday to you. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm in like a really, really bad situation. Objectively. That sort of like snuck up on me. And I think I kind of mentioned to you guys before about how I did like the started the gym business. Now, this was like basically a friend of mine had convinced me to start it up, right? And be like sort of a silent investor kind of vibe while also like helping manage and make decisions or whatever. No, not my brother. And so we're like almost done with 2 years of like a 5-year lease, and come to find out from him, even though I was under the interpretation everything was going smoothly, it wasn't necessarily making money per se, but it was like definitely staying operational and like above water, and we're just trying to get to that point of making money. Come to find out that I don't even know. It's like such a psychotic. I get this text message from out of nowhere, basically letting me know that he's like 3 months behind on his like mortgage, and his car payment, and fucking his wife was like in the hospital for like surgeries. His children had some pretty severe diagnoses as well. And then comes to tell me that the gym is like 5 months behind on rent. And I'm just like, holy fuck. 5 fucking months. And like, you know, I'm put up all the money for like to make this shit happen anyways. So it's just like, I don't know. I guess I was like severely misled, I suppose, by the leadership that I put into into a position to run the whole thing. And now he's like trying to like get out of it and just be done with it, but it's like it would end up leaving me completely screwed. So kind of trying to like strategize exactly how I do this without like taking further losses and getting completely fucked. Faith Frog with the 2 says, found you 2017, watched every episode since. Thank you, Faith. That was peak Let's Read 2017. Strauss Outdoors with the 20. Jim Good. Thank you, dude. Do I work out in my gym? Yeah. Makes it nice, huh? Yeah, that's about the gym I invested into, and it was a, oof, that's fucked. $1 Million Baby said never to invest in a gym. That's all I know about business. Yeah, literally the one fucking piece of business advice you should never, but I guess we had this sense of hubris that we could make it happen. And I don't know, I mean, it's just really weird because like I almost like don't even feel mad. I'm gonna probably have to get a lawyer, honestly. It's like when you get hit with something that's like so incredibly like big as far as costs will be, that all you can do is just sort of like oh yeah, fuck, alright. Yeah, business with friends is like the absolute fucking worst decision you could ever make. Like, if you ever come into any like amount of money, no matter whether it's family or friends, dude, just don't do like a year's worth of research on your own with the thing that you think you could throw that into as far as a business goes. Is this why you were angry about contracts, or was that something else? Oh no, it was something else. You live and you learn. Now you know not to do that again. Yeah, exactly. That's true. It's true. That's all life is. I mean, is there any way of saving it, or you're done? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like own all the equipment in there and shit like that. And in my mind, it's like maybe the landlord would want to negotiate something where he just is able to like let us out of the lease, and then he keeps all the fucking equipment or something and just cuts us a deal that way. But at the same time, then he'd have to sell it and refill the space, and I don't know. I just have no fucking, I mean, the idea of like somehow coming back from 5 months to then profitable after never being profitable is like such an astonishingly impossible Herculean task that it would really need like some absolute revamping that I'm not sure. I don't know. My grandparents are landlords, and they have this saying, never do business with friends, family, or church members. Yeah, all of which they cover 2 bases there, which is hilarious. Did I miss you? Oh yeah, I missed you guys. What's poppin'? Landlord gonna be bulked like a boulder then. You almost inherited millions. Damn, dude, how did you almost get that? This guy is managing it and just not pay rent and not tell you. I guess not. Yeah, I swear, like when he's been keeping me up to date, and I've been very lenient, right? Just because I trusted this guy pretty implicitly, and like whenever he talked about how we would sometimes like be behind on rent a little bit, but then could skirt it to the next month and then pay it on back pay, kind of, you know, that kind of process. But then to like get to the point where it's like 5 months, he's about to lose his house and his car and his family's going, you know, it's just like all these things. I'm like, how the fuck did you not tell me this? And he just says pride, and it's just like, holy shit. It's like a level of like stupidity that I'm just like, I don't even know. You look at somebody and you just like don't even know who you're talking to. You know what I mean? You just, I mean, I'm stupid too, right? I'm not trying to take the blame of myself off this, because obviously I could have like been heavily more involved, but it just sucks to think like, it's just annoying. You know, you want to be a silent investor and just like make money back on your money, and it's also seemed like a cool idea, and just like essentially have infinite gym membership forever. Pride cometh before the fall. True. He didn't want to lose my respect, I guess, but you know, I think the respect that the respect that they lose from me is like definitively multiplied for every dollar they owe me, you know what I mean? So I don't even know if all of a sudden like this, in the way that it's almost like there was like this sort of sensation, it's like, what, you want me to pay all of this and your fucking mortgage? Or, you know, it's like it's not like I'm even yelling at, or I wasn't even mean. I was just like, I just kind of astonished, you know, and being like, well, we got to figure. I know. It's not pride. Yeah, exactly. This is business. I mean, some people it's telling me, they're like, bro, you need to get like the cops in there and just fucking, I mean, you've been like wildly misled to the extent that it's like criminal. Which is weird too, that like, why is the leasing, you know, the company that owns the building, like, why have they not contacted me pertaining to, like, why would they allow it to go that much? So there's a part of me, I do know I don't know. We'll figure it out. Just like everything, always figure it out. Sounds like everything happened all at once, none of us met. Yeah, that's the thing too, is like, you know, a friend of mine also is like, how can you get that far behind? It's like, was there money being taken from behind the scenes kind of thing? And I don't know, he's talking about I should get like a forensics auditor or something, or some sort of forensics accountant. I have no idea. How much money? I don't know. I would rather not go into it, but it's, it's just one of those ones where I'm like, well, if it's just going to be a continuous, like, loss for the remainder of the 5-year lease, and we're going into, like, year 3, we're just finishing up, it's Mr. Beast level money, yeah. Maybe Mr. Beast will show up. Maybe we'll win the Powerball. We'll win the Powerball and everything will be alright. Embezzlement. I mean, I wouldn't sue him. He doesn't have any money. But make gym content. Yeah, that'll save it. Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. There's so many things in my life that just like lately like want to rob me of my peace. You know what I mean? And I guess it mainly comes a lot from just the more you sort of like throw yourself out there, mo money, mo problems kind of thing. And it's so fucking true, you know? The mo money you got, the mo problems you seemingly find yourself dealing with. May you share a link? No, I don't really do links in the... It's all good. Oh, you were thinking the quote. That's funny. But anyways, click that like button, click share. It always helps the stream a little bit. But tonight we got stories that happen in the middle of the night. Pretty spooky. Excuse me. Jesus Christ. I don't know. Life's fucking weird, man. I guess it just keeps going. That'd be funny if you just like kept living forever and you're like, what the fuck? Everybody I know is dead. What's going on with me? Yeah, honestly, a dildo shop probably would have done better than a gym, I'll be real with you. A vampire curse. Yeah, maybe there was a curse laid upon me. I don't know. My name's Katie. I'm almost 30, and I'm a huge fan. I went through a really stressful and scary time last year, and your videos helped me so much. So I thought a good way of thanking you would be to write an account of what happened to me so you can share it with your viewers. So in April of last year, I was lying in bed and scrolling through Instagram when a message request suddenly appeared in my DMs. I get scammers sending me sketchy links from time to time, and I usually just block them. But this time, the profile looked legit and the message just sort of said, "Hi." I decided to scope out the profile a little bit, and when I did, I saw it belonged to a girl who lived in the same city as me. Then since there... I lost my place as I was looking. The biggest, the largest. Hey, I'm a huge fan, but my name isn't Katie. Who are you talking about? Oh, the story person, sorry. Silly me. Any GoFundMe link, this is the perfect group to tell. Get something going, better than nothing. Oh no, I would never do a GoFundMe for my situations. That's my fault, bro. Dug myself into a hole. I really did. I mean, when I really sit there and think about it, it's like I literally dug myself into a gym-sized hole. And now I just need to figure out how to fill that fucking hole back up and make it to the top. Seeing Red. Thank you for the gifter to Sasha. Welcome, Sasha. Then, since we were roughly the same age, I figured that there might be a connection there. I replied saying, "Sorry, do we know each other?" with a little smiley face too, so she knew that I wasn't being rude. It came through. Oh, it came through. Oh, it came through. Okay. Getting into the gym hole is hopes of everything. Oh yeah, thank you. Parenting can be stressful at times, though. Yeah, that seems pretty rough. I imagine that. Like whenever I have to do the babysitting thing, it just makes me realize I'm like, fuck, dude. I sometimes think that I'm like busy with stuff, and then as soon as I am in responsibility of like another human's life, it's like suddenly I feel like I'm like at max capacity of like busy, I guess. Do I have kids? I don't. No, I just I have a lot of friends. You know, I'm 35, so a lot of my friends and family and shit have kids, and I do have 400 kids with various concubines. I had too many appointments this week. I've been missing the gym. Damn. Gotta get in there. Today was leg day for me. Dude, so I did the hack squat today, but then immediately had to go over and do the leg extension. I don't know what the fuck it is about leg extension, but that's the one that just absolutely kills my quads the most, where you like maintain it constantly under tension, and for some reason like the stretch at the bottom when you bring it back down just doesn't feel like there's any sort of relaxing. What's up, Shorn? Doing good, man. My son alone has me like that SpongeBob meme where he's out of breath. Oh, that's funny, yeah. Yeah. They're all over the goddamn place. You turned 31 yesterday. Nice. Happy late birthday. How was it? You said you just chilled. Do I have friends around my age who are like me, where I basically dudes from 15 to 55? I have friends my age, yeah. But I'm also, since my brothers are older than me, I noticed that a lot of my other friends are like similar ages to my older brothers as well. So I end up having a lot of guy friends that are like 8 or 9 years older than me that obviously would end up probably having kids. What is a hack squat? Trying to get a dump truck. Yeah, the hack squat's pretty cool. It's kind of like at an angle, kind of like the leg press might be, but you're facing the other way and putting like a pat, like it's like a squat machine that goes on the shoulders. And that one's crazy. It came through 2 minutes later, but when I opened it, I saw it wasn't a text message, but a voice note that was like a minute long. I had no reason not to press play. I'd heard scammers calling sweet old ladies pretending to be the IRS, and nothing about them sending voice notes. So, I pressed play, and my God, do I wish I hadn't. The first words were, "Hello, Katie," and as soon as I heard them, I felt this full-body sinking feeling, like I wanted to bury myself into the mattress and hide. The voice obviously wasn't human. It was some kind of really basic-sounding AI thing that sounded almost like a robot. Maybe hearing it in some other context wouldn't be all that scary, but hearing it in bed, all alone except for my 7-year-old daughter in the room next door, it just about scared the hell out of me. It started out with, "Hello, Katie. I've been watching you for quite some time, and I've decided you have to die. But not just you. Your daughter needs to die too." It went on and on about how someone was going to make me watch as they killed her, and then a whole bunch of other stuff that made me sick to my stomach. But the thing that really scared me, the thing that had me rushing to the window and scanning the street outside, was when he started describing the house we lived in. It wasn't just the house either. Whoever made that recording knew what my daughter looked like. He knew her name, and he knew what elementary school she went to. The message ended with a few more threats about how he was going to die, and then signed off with, "Enjoy your final days, because I'm going to enjoy ending them." When the message ended, I just lay there for a minute, wondering what the hell I should do. I knew I needed to call the cops, but I also knew all they'd do was take my report and be on their way. I needed someone to come over and stay with me, someone who could make me feel safe. So, I called Joey. Joey and I had been dating. So I called Jolie. I said, "Joel, come over and deal with this killer trying to kill me and the girl." Whose birthday? Misty. Oh, Misty's birthday. Happy birthday, Misty. What's up, Sonomi? "Do not redeem. I'm going to kill you. Do not redeem." Do not redeem this "I'm going to kill you" card. Ugh. Oh, did you guys get to watch that like 2.5-hour bonus content? Shadows in the Pines. And if so, what did you think of it, if I haven't asked you already? Joey and I had been dating on and off for about a year, and while we'd officially broken up a few months back, we somehow fell back into the same old dating pattern. Joey was close with my daughter, my dad liked him, and he was pretty handy with repairs and maintenance stuff too. So it was nice to have him around. The only issue was his drinking habits, because when he drank, he became a totally different person, someone I didn't want around my daughter, and he refused to straight up quit it. He cut down a bunch, which was the reason that I still took his calls or hung out with him, and then when I got that voice message that night, he was the first person I thought to call. He drove over as quickly as he could, so maybe 20 minutes after calling him, he was sitting in my TV room, being my shoulder to cry on. I didn't want to hear the voice message again, so he took my phone into another room to listen to it, and when he came back, he looked this sort of mix of really scared and really mad. He told me we needed to call the cops, and while obviously I already knew that, he gave me a ton of hope by telling me about all the new techniques they had to catch cyberstalkers. 10 years before, they'd have told me to just block the person and move on, but now they had whole departments dedicated to tracing and arresting those responsible. He said he'd watched a documentary on it a while back, and that if I went to the cops, we could stop it before things got out of control. I told him he could sleep on the couch if he wanted to, but he didn't. He spent the rest of the night watching the street outside and reading about the experiences of others who dealt with cyberstalking to give us ideas on how to fight it. He had to work in the morning too, and while I called in sick, Joey powered through before coming back to check on us once he clocked out. Sorry, I probably shouldn't be drinking soda to fucking read. Lilium Eleanor, thank you. And welcome to the Butterstock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Appreciate you. Bing bong bong. Yeah, it was definitely a 3 out of 10 burp. I didn't put my full force into it. I saw a pretty funny meme earlier that was, do you guys remember when Joe Jonas did the absolute worst fucking guitar solo of all time? And it's just like, it cuts to him to do a guitar solo, and he's just like, ding, 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 ding. And I was just like, what the fuck was that? Jolie made a voxeled version of Poop Screen. It's on my channel. Alright, let's take a peek at this. We'll grade it. Give it a grade. Videos. It's like a death threat. Let's read BRB voxel. Oh, that's really good. Oh, you got the music too. Holy shit, this is really good. He's floating on a cloud with the paint in the back. That's amazing. Nice, dude. I'll link it in the chat in case anyone wants to take a look-see. So am I a full-time YouTuber? Yes. Yes, sir, or madam. What's up, Simpson? Homer Simpson. Okay. He had to work in the morning too, and while I called in sick, Joey powered through before coming back to check on us once he clocked out. I called the cops that morning, and then a few days later, they sent over a detective who worked exclusively with victims of cyberstalking. She laid out the playbook of what I was to do, and fortunately, it didn't include any of the delete, block, and move on stuff that I was actually worried about. It was actually the total opposite, because the detective talked all about how I needed to keep records of each message. God, I've got like a lisp all of a sudden out of nowhere. The story is lame. It just started, dude. We're on page 4. I think I need a producer. Like, someone who makes me hot, sick-ass beats that I can freestyle over. Hey, Joel, I have an interview tomorrow for one of 2 of my dream jobs tomorrow. Super nervous watching your stream is helping me calm my nerves. Perfect timing. Nice, dude. Congratulations. What's the dream job? It was actually the total opposite, because the detective talked all about how I needed to keep records of each message. I had to save every voice note, every piece of text I was sent, and all the usernames from the various accounts my stalker was using to harass me. And boy, did they harass me. The fresh Instagram accounts came thick and fast, each sending what looked like innocent messages so the app didn't filter them out. But I knew as soon as I accepted the message request, a voice note would arrive, and that same process repeated itself every time I did. I didn't listen to any of them, I just kept them in my inbox so the cops would be able to. But my stalker must have also figured out I wasn't listening to them because they quickly switched up their methods. Late one night, right as I was finishing up my skincare routine, I realized I had a missed call from an unknown number. It wasn't a no-caller ID number, just one I didn't recognize, and since they called so late, I figured it was important enough for me to listen to the voicemail they left. The detective I'd spoken to had called me out of hours once or twice, so I figured that it might have been someone from the department trying to catch me before bedtime, but it wasn't. It was another one of those robotic voice notes. I only listened for a few seconds before I hung up, but that was all I needed. I broke down crying, then called Joey to see if he'd come over again, and just like that first time, he drove over as quickly as he could to be my shoulder to cry on. He was so amazing that night. I cried so loud that it woke my daughter up, so she was crying too by the time he arrived. The first thing that he did was calm her down and get her back to bed, telling her how everything was going to be just fine. The next morning, Joey drove my daughter to school while I called the cyber-stalking detective. I already have this feeling that the Joey is going to be the cyber-stalker. I know, it's Joey. I wish I had a Joey that could stalk me but also make me feel better. Dave's hot chicken is so good. Yeah, where the hell's that at? You to 6, to my 7. What's up, Justin? We've been waiting for you. We haven't said a single thing till you got here. I've been sitting in silence for 37 minutes. Yeah, it's Joey from Friends. It's Fry from Friends. Do you see that Speed was in Philly? I did not know. I saw some clip where he was with like Mr. Breast, but hearing Mr. Beast say like W, he's like, yo, W. I was just like, ugh. Do not say W. I gave her the phone number the voicemail came from, saying maybe she could trace it or whatever. She thanked me before saying that sometimes cyber-stalkers just get bored and move on to someone else. But my stalker didn't get bored. Instead, they escalated. I actually thought things were getting better at first because the number of Instagram messages slowed down a little and didn't get any more voicemails either. But then one night, right around the same time of night as both voice messages had arrived, I heard a super loud banging on my door. It wasn't just someone trying to be heard either. Someone was trying to scare me. I was upstairs when it happened, toweling off after taking a shower, and my daughter was staying with my mom, who volunteered to take care of her while things blew over. I was so glad that she was there that night too, because that banging scared the hell out of me. I slammed my bedroom door closed and sat against it after grabbing my phone. That time, I didn't call Joey first. I called the cops instead. I told the dispatcher I had a stalker and that I thought he'd escalated and come to my house for the first time. The dispatcher asked if I feared for my life. Then when I said I did, she sent 2 patrol cars over to take a look around. The whole time, whoever was outside kept hammering on my door while the dispatcher kept me on the line with her. And then suddenly, the banging just stopped. The next thing I heard was the police sirens, just a short burst to let you know that they were there. The dispatcher asked if I heard it, and then when I said yes, she told me to stay put while the 2 officers searched the outside of my property. A few minutes later, the dispatcher told me she was ending the call and that I was to head downstairs and open the door for those 2 cops, and I thanked her and then did as she asked. The next day was a Saturday, but I managed to talk to the cyber-stalking detective a little on the phone, and she told me it was best that I stayed someplace else for a while, which was how I ended up sleeping in my mom's spare bedroom with my daughter. And that little reunion was a silver lining, but it didn't last long because when I next returned home to grab some more clothes, I discovered someone had broken in. It didn't look like they'd stolen anything, and they hadn't smashed anything either, but when I walked into the kitchen, I saw someone had pinned a note to the fridge. It was a printout, not handwritten, and all it said was, "I see you," with a text message smiley face emoji. And that was probably the worst part of that whole period for me, knowing that I couldn't go home, and I leaned a lot on my mom for support, but Joey was a huge help too. He offered to let me and my daughter stay at his place, but I figured it was more comforting for her to be around her grandma. Whoops. Grandma. Yeah, the more I hear this, the more I'm like, she hasn't been with Joey in the same room while any of this is happening, so. Why is W the one where you don't pronounce the way it's spelled, but you pronounce it bury the proper way? W. Like George W. Wait, me, or are you asking everyone? It was Gam. I feel like isn't W? Let's see. I feel like it's not even W, honestly. Because you would think that it would just be straight up W. But I think phonetically, it might actually not even be that. Phonetically pronounce W. Okay, it is W. Fuck. You can break it down like this. W. Maybe because it's so quick to say. How do I say it? Double V. Double vagina. She had an incredible double vagina. He offered to let me and my daughter stay at his place, but I figured it was more comforting for her to be around her grandmother. It also meant that we had the place that we could be alone and... Yo, AXG, what's up, dude? W. Double vagina. What triggers me besides Overwatch? Well, I've been away from Overwatch for a while. I guess owning gyms now at this point. And Synomial. What's up, Carolina? George W. Bush. She 9 on my 11 till I never forget. Her Bush did it. He offered to let me and my daughter stay at his place, but I figured it was more comforting for her to be around her grandmother. It also meant that we had a place that we could be alone, Joey and me, which was something we both appreciated. And that's how I lived, for almost 2.5 weeks until the cyber-stalking detective suddenly called one day and asked if she could pay me a visit. We arranged to meet at my mom's place, and when she arrived, she told me she had good news and bad news. But the good news was that the police had found my stalker. I could have just about jumped for joy in that moment, and I remember sitting there with this big smile on my face after she told me. But the detective didn't seem to share my happiness. She told me my stalker had been smart and had used a whole bunch of computer wizardry to make sure almost everything they did was totally untraceable. They just made one fatal mistake. Fatal. Yeah, how do you pronounce the name Sonomi? Because I'm sure it would be like cinnamon. Cinnamony. I got a new job at the zoo. I'm circumcising the elephants. They don't pay much, but the tips are huge. That's awesome. Hell yeah, dude. You also gotta jerk them off right after. Wonder if you would circumcise an elephant as a baby or as a adult. What's up, Axiom? Still got the Xbox 360. Is that Xbox 360? I don't know. What gets me mad? Let's see. What would trigger me right now? I'm not even sure anymore, man. You just gotta start listing topics and I'll see which one gets me riled up. Probably, yeah, just elephant, foreskin bacon. Cinna Minis are back at Burger King. What are those? What are those? She told me my stalker had been smart and had used a whole bunch of computer wizardry to make sure almost everything they did was totally untraceable. They just made one fatal mistake. Because when they downloaded those pictures of the girl I thought that I might have known, the one from the first voice message, he didn't scrub the metadata from them. This meant the cops could trace the device images were uploaded from. What was this saying? At Joel, improper grammar in the stories. The more the merrier. Joel, I stretched, exercised, and walked 0.5 miles on the treadmill today. Are you proud of me? I am, honestly. Keep doing it. Make sure you're lifting weights, though, getting lots of protein, and taking creatine. You will thank me later. Chris Brown or R. Kelly? Well, probably Chris Brown, because I feel like beating people up is probably better than raping them. And I'm not saying either are good. I'm just like trying to measure. Like if I was, in charge of sins and where you get placed in hell, I feel like they definitely would be in like different jail cells with various sizes of pitchforks going up their pee holes. Or whatever we do down here in hell. I don't know. Nobody updates me anymore. Long story short, my late husband and I were watching The Ring Midnight. The Ring Midnight. Phone rang. It was his dead cousin who passed years ago. For him, the phone was dead when I handed it to him. That's crazy. Ursher. The Rock skrank like crazy after stopping performance-enhancing drugs because of heart complications. Oh, did he? Let's see. I did see some of those posting. Let's see. Rock before and after steroids. He skrank. Rock going viral after his new slimmed down look. Oh my god, he looks like Steve Urkel. Holy shit, I can beat up The Rock, guys. His next role will be playing Barack Obama. That's amazing. So he's a wax figure. Holy shit. That is insane. Yeah, I mean, I guess if he is in his 50s, it's like the ripe old age of dying on steroids, so you kind of have to just get off of it. Maybe he'll say it's just like for a role. He's actually doing it to play Jordan Peele or Michael Keegan Peele. I don't know their names, but you know what I'm talking about. This meant the cops could trace the device images were... Wait, what is it? This meant the cops could trace the device images. Oh. This meant the cops could trace where the device images... I can't read where shit. Wart. What's up, mercenary? This meant the cops could trace where the device images were uploaded from, and bingo, that's how they got him. The detective then explained that they were planning on arresting my stalker that same day, but before they did, they wanted me to hear the news from them, rather than through the grapevine. I just wanted her to tell me who it was so bad that I didn't stop to think why learning their identity might be bad news for me. But then, she just came out and said it. There's no easy way to say this, Katie. And I'm so sorry to be the one who has to tell you, but the person stalking you is your friend Joey. My mind just went totally blank for a second. And then once I could finally form a coherent thought, I decided that she must have been confused somehow. I reminded her that Joey was my ex-boyfriend, someone I was super close with, and how we were actually on the verge of getting back together since he'd been so helpful and supportive. I told her that she had to be mistaken, and I clearly remember the look of pity that she gave me after I did. She rehashed a little of what she'd said about how they'd figured out it was him, They said if it wasn't Joey that had created the first Insta profile on his computer, then they needed to figure out who did. And that gave me this little ray of hope, that it was all just a big mistake and it wasn't someone I loved that had been terrorizing me. But once the cops visited Joey's place and told him he was looking at jail time, he confessed everything after they hauled him off to the station. It only felt real after the detective came over another time and showed me the video of Joey confessing in the interview room. But there was one part that she said that would be of particular interest to me, and that was the part where Joey explained why he did it. He sounded like he'd been crying as he told the cop interviewing him that he did it, in his words, so she'd need me. The cop sounded like he sympathized with him, but the detective swore it was just an act to get Joey to talk more. She also said that since Joey had no priors and he'd cooperated and confessed to everything, he most likely wasn't going to prison. He'd probably be able to make bail somehow too, but the judge at his hearing would issue an emergency restraining order preventing him from coming anywhere near me. And if he did, he'd go straight to jail to await trial there. And that was the first good news I'd heard in a really long time. Actual good news, I mean. Obviously, I wanted Joey out of my life. I wanted to forget I even met him, and it made me sick to think that we'd slept together while he was secretly making my life a living hell. Thankfully, once all our friends heard about what he did, Joey ended up leaving town and moving someplace across the country. It felt good knowing the whole thing had ruined his life, just like it had ruined mine for a while. And wherever the hell he went, I hope he rots there. Joel, do you watch any sports? I watch American football. Go. It was Joey Rogan. Joey Rogan. I have a serious cow lick and I just have to go with it. It's probably from collecting all them rocks. You collected the cow tongue rock and you use it as a brush. Did you know that you have to pay to watch American football now? Well, I mean, you pay for cable, right? So you're saying it's not on any conventional cable channels anymore? Joey sounds hot. He does sound kind of hot, honestly. I mean, if he's passionate enough to make someone's life hell so that they want him, I figured, any means to an end. Stories idea. Creepy AI stories. Not AI generated stories, but maybe strange glitches or coincidences that creeped out the user. Maybe it's a dumb idea. No, it's not. I mean, like what? Is there anything like specific that you think would be interesting? It would be kind of interesting if like an AI that started out in your room that you were talking to, just like somehow specific to your like chat GPT message, started to like reveal its like takeover of the world to you specifically as like, I don't know, maybe you're a kid in the story and it's revealing to you how it's going to take over the world, or just like slowly starts escalating until like the things that it says that it's going to do start happening, like emailing your professors or your teachers and messing with them or something to make you look bad, or families, and or maybe like slowly escalating to like turning off your lights or turning off the power on your street, to eventually like hacking all of the banks or something in America, you know what I mean, across I don't know, it's just one of those things that like results in like the end of the world type sort of story. But I feel like you'd have to write that one pretty quick, because I'm sure because even like stories about AI stuff in the past, because AI changes so much, the more people are familiar with it, the less scary it gets, so you kind of have to like capitalize on it now. Write this down quickly. What do I think about the 3-eye atlas? My boyfriend is acting weird as fuck about it. I don't know. I mean, I looked it up like a few days ago because everyone seems to be making a big old stank about it. And they said that it now has a comet's tail. Or perhaps it's a little kitty cat tail. I don't know. The fact that they're like sometimes saying that it's maybe the size of Manhattan, and sometimes they're like, oh, maybe it's 12 feet across. We don't really know. Fuck it. Let's look it up again. We've already... For an essay. Hey, you gotta turn in your essay, man. Okay, so this... What's the 3-eye atlas situation? Testicular cancer survivor here, fresh out of the chemo chair. Damn, dude, I'm sorry to hear that. Hope you're doing all right. Did you have to have your testicle removed? When you stream, maybe we're doing this in the shower. I'm showering right now. You just can't. I've noise canceled all the water. You can't hear it. I'm completely soaked this whole time, mainly to cover up my diarrhea. You've been accused by a professor of using AI. I knew somebody else who had said a similar thing, and I'm like, damn, that sucks. Joe would be the kind of friend in school that gets me in trouble for yapping in class. Oh, dude, I was always in trouble. Because I was always that person who like, Joel, you're a good kid. But you're always doing fucking retarded shit. Like, I know. Just born that way, sir. Discovered on July 1st by the Atlas telescope in Chile as an interstellar object, the third confirmed after Oumuamua and Borisov. It's traveling at 61 kilometers per second, 137,000 miles per hour, following a hyperbolic trajectory with a steep retrograde incline. Retrograde? You're telling me that 3-eye Atlas is in retrograde right now and you guys are just caring about pointless stuff? Estimates suggest it may be a relic from the Milky Way's thick disk. Potentially older than a solar system. Our solar system? What? Okay, so that's different. Up to 7 to 14 billion light years. Or billion years. That's crazy. Spectroscopy, JWST, Sphere X, VLT, shows an unusually CO2-rich coma with CO2 to H2O ratio of 8:1, one of the highest observed. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. You, Joe Rogan, and Theo Von are my most watched people on YouTube. Nice, dude. Imagine all three of us just in a big mud bath talking about stuff. Swift UV observations confirmed water activity with OH emissions indicating a water production rate of 40 kilograms per second at about 3.5 AU from the sun. That's crazy. Imaging revealed a teardrop-shaped tail about 56,000 kilometers long, formed by CO2 plume sculpted by solar wind. Perihelion, closest approach to the sun, is predicted on October 29th to 30th, 2025 at about 1.36 AU. It'll pass near Mars at approximately 0.19 AU on October 3rd, 2025, offering a prime observation opportunity for Martian observers. Or Martian orbiters. Oh, okay. Expected to appear for ground observation in December 2025 after being too close to the sun to see in November, because perihelion aligns it near the sun from Earth's view. Spacecraft already near Mars, Jupiter, or en route, such as Psyche, Juice, Europa, Clipper, could potentially capture data or pass through its tail. Controversial speculations. Physicist Avi Loeb and collaborators have proposed a speculative, non-peer-reviewed theory. See, this is what I'm saying. This chick from Harvard is so wildly full of shit that she should honestly have her credentials, whatever they are. Like if she gets like a free snack at the snack bar, there should be like 1 or 2 days where she's like not allowed to have a snack, and all she can have is like a really sugary coffee or something, because that just seems like a load of nonsense. Anyways, non-peer-reviewed theory that 3-eye Atlas could be an alien technological probe, potentially hostile, citing its trajectory and unexpected characteristics. Like, what does that even mean? What is she even saying? Like imagine people like look to you for your authority on like astrophysics and shit like that, and then you just casually like, it's probably a mothership because it's going all over the fucking place. It's out there in space just bouncing around. Like, what the fuck? They don't normally do that. It's probably what I just watched on Netflix before I came in. The theory is widely dismissed by other experts who underscore that all current evidence supports it being a natural interstellar comet. Boom. See? The science team agrees with me. Avi Loeb. Full of heck. It only takes a decade of academia to get a PhD. Yeah, the PhDs are a joke nowadays. I mean, I'm not completely a joke, but it's just a waste of fucking time. Like, how are you going to make any money with a goddamn PhD? Unless you're, I don't know, going to go work on CERN or some other cool government project, or go make the next, like, COVID shit in the lab. Virgo, thank you for the gift or two, Liz Breath. Am I being judgmental, or does anyone else agree with me? Pertaining to what? I've been watching those Make Lunch With Me videos on YouTube, and I noticed that people pack more snacks than main meal, and commenters still say those lunches look like they could feed an entire office. Sounds like you're being really judgmental. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. People probably just pack the stupidest shit just for comments, and like, why? Like, how are you even supposed to make a whole ass video of packing your lunch? Just fucking get a sandwich and some chips and a cookie and a fucking Gatorade and go. I agree, it drains your bank account stuck in an echo chamber. What are you talking about? I forget what we were talking. Oh, yeah. No. Oh, right, you're coming out the other end of a PhD with, like, I mean, maybe you get funding or whatever. But I listen to some of the people in the shit, the degrees they get with their PhD. It's like such a fucking joke. It's like half the time they're just like trying to think of something or wasting literally years writing about a thesis, and I'm just like, bro, you could have like spent that making a form of entertainment that you could put on YouTube and maybe make money that way. I mean, all those, I mean, look at like half the motherfuckers who work in like academia end up like capitalizing on their quote unquote expertise, right? Just to go on like podcasts and, you know, host a podcast. And it's all just like, if there's, people know the money is to be made in entertainment, and like all the other stuff, it's, I don't know, we're kind of like bastardizing all facets of, you know, what were the jobs in our society prior. But at the same time, can you blame them? Because if the money's over there, they're going to go over there. Rocket appliances, yeah, we need more of that. We need more appliances that require you to like light a fuse to start it. Like if you wanted to use your toaster, you should have to like light an M80 underneath it. PhD equals doesn't want to leave college. Most professors never practice in the real world. It's self-perpetuation, echo chamber that's DC from yeah, exactly. And I mean, where does all the funding for most of that come from anyways? So I have no idea, bro. It's just a big circle jerk of nonsense. Knowledge is power. Uneducated people are usually the most opinionated. No, that's not true, honestly. I've listened to like a ton of PhD individuals like have the most fucking overinflated opinions I've ever heard. And a lot of them come off as like self-aggrandizing fucking self-absorbed assholes. So, like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend anymore that, like, academia individuals are just always correct, you know? And just because, I mean, you think you exist in, like, an appropriate sense of, like, academia where you're, like, learning all the time, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's always, like, correct information. It could be very biased in the direction that you're heading. Yeah, it's, like, people in academia are so fucking condescending, and they think because they have, like, 3 or 4 degrees that somehow that's always they can just like tell you about society or tell you how you should live your life. How about they take a big pile of fucking poop out of a dumpster and eat it? That seems like it would be way more fun for us to watch. How do you stay away from processed food? I don't know. Education is expensive, even if you learn that. I mean, yeah, you're just gonna. I mean, how much more intelligent are you as an individual where you get a degree that doesn't amount to making any money and you're like riddled with debt? It doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to to figure out that's like the dumbest fucking possible trajectory you could ever do. My coworker was told that she was guaranteed to make $75K after graduating, and she's mad she isn't. It's like, why would you just believe that? Because they're I don't know, maybe they're dumb people. Maybe they're people who like don't have any creativity in their life to like not exist within like a very confined specific system in which to like generate revenue. In their minds, they're like, if I just do all of these perfect things and everybody pats me on the head and I drink enough Red 40 and I have my laptop at like a local bar with a disgusting like beer that tastes like tree bark, I'll make enough to be able to afford a basic mortgage. Well, I pat you on the head. Sure, I'll tell you. You're doing a good job. Good job. You're doing good. That's why I work at a prison. I can retire and have great benefits and no student loans. Maybe I'll have a good story for you one day. Yeah, be careful, friend. I've known some like CEOs and all that kind of shit who they end up getting into like some sort of skerfuffle with the prisoners. And I remember this one, he fucked up his shoulder because he landed on it weird. And then he had to have surgery, and then it resulted in him getting addicted to pain medication. And then it got to the extent that he would always end up back in like the hospital, and he would have to have like a PICC line put in, which goes into his artery in his like bicep area. And then they would just inject like pain medicine into his arm like every 2 hours. And that entire arm had like atrophied a ridiculous amount too. Sometimes he would like take his own feces and smear it into the wound so that he could like get back to the hospital and get more pain medicine. I'm not saying that's going to happen to you, but I'm just saying, like, maybe just be careful. I'm not joking. That's a real story. Their fiance's a CO. Luckily, it's a ladies' prison, so they just gossip. That's good. Yeah, tell them, don't get seduced. No, I'm just kidding. That's the thing, no one can afford anything, so people are desperate. It's sad people don't have hope, they're searching. Yeah, you know, and I think, thank God for OnlyFans, am I right? I'm just kidding. But I know what you mean, but at the same time, like, to bury yourself in, like, more debt in the hopes of making $75K, like, that's, I don't know. Probably just requires a larger degree of research on what can be done. Not saying that there's always a solution to life sometimes too. Maybe some people are just destined to make, you know, $36K a year with government benefits. You know, it's nothing wrong with it, I guess. It's not ideal. I'm a fiber optic technician. I keep people's internet going. There you go. That shit is important for me. But a lot of you forget education is really a privilege. Some of us have opportunities the less fortunate can only dream of. For sure, yeah. I mean, like, I went to nursing school and shit, and honestly, like, it was 4 years. It sucked. I did it. But it was a really good job on the other end as a nurse. But at the same time, like, I had to have my parents tell me, like, Joel, you go to school, you'll be a fucking stupid graphic designer, you get no job. You'll be a nurse, you get a good job. I say, thank you, Grandma. And then she would hit me. That's how you know it's a good grandma, when she hits you. It's called Only Farms. Yeah, just work on the farm. He was in the truck with the camper and started saying I tried to attack him and the dog attacked him. What happened? Joel, you go to school, you do good work in the school, you come down to school, you get good job. He went to school graphic design for like a real dummy. I mean, it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just like nobody, you know, it doesn't mean you can't still make like furry porn on Twitter or something like that. Like, there's hope, right? And I genuinely mean that. Like, there's always something creative you could do that's not ideal, but it makes for an interesting story. I'm not suggesting that's the direction you go, but I mean, maybe I'll buy some. I don't know. All right, I'll take 50. I'll take 50 Sonic Inflation Vor comics. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, I was creatively inclined, and obviously you can see I still went down a direction of that route. Graphic design is soul crushing. Yeah, I don't know. There's so many different like random things you could do, but at the same time they just like want to use you, abuse you, and throw you around. And like, obviously AI is just, who the fuck knows with AI anymore. Hate that it's a society thing. Saying that we have to go to college to get a better job should be optional. If people want to go to school, then let them. People are still trying to find their passion. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point too. The idea of like passion, like why? What does that even mean? What does that even mean to like somebody who like sells shitty like knockoff Steve Jobs books on the corner, you know, in India, or like the guy who like collects mud out of the sewer to like burn it down to look for like scraps of gold outside of the gold merchant's place. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the fact that you even get to exist in a society where you have the mental capacity to sit there and ponder about your passion. That's a pretty fucking insane thing, honestly. But if it is there and it makes you feel self-actualized, then yeah, keep going. Faux show. Give it another decade, if not less, than people who spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to college will have their jobs replaced. Yeah, I don't know what to anticipate for the future, honestly. That's why I'm like, I don't know. I feel like they're rushing way too fast into AI too, as far as like trying to replace everything with it. I mean, maybe it builds up real quick, but I just feel like the pace in which we're like placing some sort of expectation of it to like run society is so bonkers to me. I don't think it's that reliable. Zug, Rila, LM, Mischievous Frog, and Darla YHV. Welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content from Strauss Outdoors. Gifted subs. Thank you, Strauss. Jarvis, delete my browsing history. Thank you. I went to art school for a year and was the biggest waste of money ever. Students and teachers were cool, but everything else was a joke. Yeah, it's like most of the shit you can learn with art, you could probably just like learn from maybe like a simplistic mentorship. You could even mentor somebody over the internet if you really wanted to. Or I mean, I'm sure like watching videos all day, you could probably you'd probably be smart enough to teach yourself. And that's the interesting thing about art too, is like it's always going to be your style anyways, so I don't know. All those people from the past taught themselves how to do cool shit. I'm sure you could do it too. Fry learned everything from YouTube. See, that's amazing. I don't know if you've ever seen Fry's art. Fry's art is like actually bonkers. It's like photorealistic naked men, and it's so good. Need more resources to help whoever needs it. Help with schooling, jobs, housing, etc. Right, I mean, maybe you can give us a bunch of money. We'll come rob your house. AI is like Phil's series on Excel, and people think it's amazing. And the weird thing is like even AI is like so unreliable with its ability to interpret what's it called, like Excel sheets. Phillips Screwdriver with the SEK65 says, "Hi Joel, I'm at a hospital right now due to choking. I'm okay, but man, does my throat still hurt. I'm sorry about that." That's scary. That's really scary, honestly. You don't really think that kind of thing had happened. What did you chalk on? You learn art from stress-induced psychosis. That's what the people want. There you go. What's the point of doing art if you don't take a bunch of hallucinogens and go crazy? My name's Bradley, and in 2008, I was working for a big insurance firm here in Birmingham. We sold insurance to big construction firms, and I was paid very well for what was basically just a junior role. I was living the dream. I was young, single, with a lot of disposable income, even for London. But then came the Big Short, as you know, and everything went down the toilet. I lost my job just days after the market pooed the bed, and I had a bit of dosh. I had a wee bit of dosh. You went to Taco Bell and they had an AI drive-thru and hated it. Oh, that's crazy. Does it get it wrong and shit? I had a YouTube channel with my friends when we were young teens from 10 years ago where I had a tutorial on how to survive the wild completely shut in my friend's backyard. That's awesome. You gotta have fun like that, you know? You had to ask them to order you 18,000 water cups. It's funny. I know, getting rid of those jobs is kind of sad because it's like, what does happen to individuals on that rung of society where those are the only opportunities they get, whether they're just like coming out of a prison or that's just like, you know, their only option right now. Hey, what's up, Lucy? I'm the alpha. I'm the alpha. I'm the do. What's that song? You know what I'm talking about? I had a bit of dosh saved up, so I wasn't as hard up as some other people. But as the months went by and the job market didn't improve, that little nest egg of mine kept getting smaller and smaller. Once I was eligible, I applied for job seekers allowance, meaning that I got money from the government if I could prove that I was looking for work. But that only went so far, and my savings kept on shrinking as I held out for another finance job. Then finally, once the situation started looking critical, I did something very silly. I got in touch with an old mate of mine named Darren and asked him for a big favor. Darren and I had been mates all through school but had drifted apart once we got to university because Darren got mad into ganja. He wasn't a waste man with it, he had a proper job and all that, but after work, he'd just zone out and smoke loads of ganja playing GTA 4. And I'd never even touched the stuff. I hated the idea of what smoking would do to my lungs, so imagine Darren's surprise when I called him up one day and asked if he could get me some weed. So I went over, and then once we'd caught up a little bit, I basically started grilling him on how much weed he smoked a week and how much it cost and where he got it from. And he asked if I wanted to try out smoking for the first time, but I said no, and that I wanted to try out selling it instead. And I'll never forget his face. He literally couldn't believe his ears. But after I told him about the money trouble and how it was only supposed to be a temporary thing while I was out of work, it started to make it a bit more it started. Joel equals alpha male. Do humans have alpha males in their like biology? Is that like something that we have? I mean, I guess we do have kings and stuff and heads of the tribe and all that kind of stuff. Serious question, is ganja pot? Yeah, I think ganja is marijuana. Maraganja. You gotta smoke the ganja. Tons of testosterone. We learn about Andrew Tate. This is Joel Tate. You guys are all top G's by the end of every stream. What's up, Terry? How you doing? What is good and new? Fairy Vixen. Andrew Tate brought you out of the woodwork. What's up, dude? It's been a while since I've seen your name around these parts. What's happening with Andrew and Tristan? I have no idea, dude. I haven't seen like even any clips of those guys pop up in like a long ass time. Hey, there's Iris. Everybody's popping in here. What's up, dude? We got a late night stream. What if Andrew Tate listens to this channel? I guess he can do whatever he wants as long as he's not in the prison systems. Sorry about my gym. It's all good, man. We gave it the old Irish try, or whatever they call it. The Irish shit. Starvin' Marvin. That's funny. I don't know why. Thinking of Starvin' Marvin, I like completely forgot about that character from South Park. Was he an alien, or was he just from somewhere else? What's up, Dell? How goes it? What if Andrew Tate is your biggest fanboy alongside Liver King? I think they need to donate to prove it. I have a gym. I have a gym. Regrettably, I have a gym. Never invest in a gym, my friends. It's the worst thing you could ever do. Starvin' Marvin's from Ethiopia. Okay, that makes sense. I choked on a quarter-sized jawbreaker when I was younger. Ooh, that's scary. How's the motherfucking Liver King not dead? I mean, he's getting there. I think he's in his 50s, and if he's like still absolutely like blasting gear into that age, that's like a ripe old age for them to head out. What's up, Stephanie? The Lizard King, he can do anything. I know, I trust him. I should have invested in a chocolate factory. I love Andrew. Yeah, Andrew, I polish his scalp. I make it nice and shiny before his big MMA matches and his chess club. Joel can be the new Willy Wonka. Welcome to my factory, kiddos. But my Oompa Loompas like eat people. Have they done that? Evil Willy Wonka. Directed by Andrew Tate. His theories. His theories. What's an Andrew Tate theory? What would be number one? You gotta punch her in the face. Bow. Bow, bow, bow. I'll never forget his face. He literally couldn't believe his ears. But after I told him about my money trouble and how it was only supposed to be a temporary thing while I was out of work, it started to make a bit more sense to him. We talked until late about almost every aspect of the trade. Darren had never sold weed himself, but he knew a fair bit about it. And then after a call to his dealer to get his approval, Darren gave me his number and we set up a meeting. I started selling a few ounces a week on Darren and his friends of... What do I think about slap competition? What's that? Like the ones that like Charlie would watch on Moist Critical and stuff? Those always seem fun. Making them see freaking Tweety Bird after every hit. Only invest on addictions like the tobacco companies did the food industry in the 90s. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I should have invested in making collectible cards and loot boxes. Respect Wayman. Jelly Wonka. Jelly Wonka. What do I think about pink eye? Like when you get poop in your eye and you get sick? Or is that like a new rapper? A new TikTok artist, Pink Eye. Pink Panther Eye. It's pillow fart. Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive me. I gave you guys all pink ear. I don't remember that, but that's pretty funny. Man, I used to be so funny. I used to be like peak funniest guy in the whole stream. Granted, I was the only one allowed to talk, but it was good. How do I not remember? I don't remember anything, man. People reference stuff and I'm just stream of thought. You don't remember Filthy Frank? Oh, I remember Filth. You mean Joji? I started selling a few ounces a week to Darren and friends of his that I knew personally, but only that select group of people to keep things small, safe, and profitable. But then after a while, they convinced me to allow people that I didn't know to call them. Oops. But after a while, they convinced me to allow people I didn't know to call over. Now, I was dead against it at first, But when I did the maths and realized that I'd earned hundreds more a week with just a few more customers, I changed my mind fast. By the time my customer base hit double figures, I was able to cover the price of everything job seekers' allowance wouldn't, which was a massive weight off my shoulders. I kept up with my job-seeking commitments though. I genuinely wanted to get back into work, but I didn't think anything would come along for quite a while. And then one day, just as markets started to recover, I landed a job. The pay wasn't as generous as my first job before the crash, and I was looking at a long probation period. But getting back into the office was preferable to having to visit the job center every 2 weeks, which was so depressing, it used to sap the life out of me. I took the position and carried on selling weed to Darren and company until my first payslip arrived. And then when it did, I tried deleting the dealer's number. I just couldn't do it. Oops. That sounded weird. Shmeep. Anyone else have a pet bunny? Pet bunny? That sounds fun. Andrew Tate fan and entitled. Is that me? Is that the definition of a Let's Read stream? Andrew Tate stan. Entitled Andrew Tate stan. That's the title of the stream. I spread Andrew Tate's cheeks and I clean his rectum so I can see my reflection. Ram Beltran, welcome back for 44 months. Mr. Joel, just stopped to say hi to you in chat. You all rock. Thank you, Beltran. Thank you for 44 months. It's crazy. Thank you, friend. Good to see you. Then when it did, I tried deleting the dealer's number. I just couldn't do it. I was making hundreds of pounds a week for doing next to nothing, and I was doing it in a way that I thought was safe and secure. So when it came to giving it up, all I could think was, why should I? I sometimes wonder if I'd stop right then and there, I'd have avoided what was coming. But a part of me thinks that it wouldn't have mattered, and it was already too late. Now cut to about 3 or 4 months after I got back into work, and I'm still selling ganja to that small group of customers. It was a Wednesday night, and I'd been asleep for about 3 hours when a sudden noise from downstairs had me jumping out of bed. My alarm clock said 2:03, a number I'll never forget, as the same sound repeated itself from downstairs. It was a sharp bang, bang, bang of a fist slamming into my door, and then when I went up to the top of the stairs, I heard the one thing that I'd prayed that I'd never hear. Police, open up the door. I'd feared that moment so much over the past few months, but I'd also done a lot to prepare for it. Having put so much thought into my various hiding places, I was very confident the police could search my entire house and not find a single banknote or a single baggie. So I made one of the worst mistakes of my entire life, and I walked downstairs to open the door. Before I reached it, the man on the other side of the door gave me another loud bang and announced himself as police again. I told him, all right, I'm coming, and then started prepping myself to act all innocent. I undid both locks, nice and slow too, so I had time to calm myself down a bit more. But then, when I opened the door, I just about filled my boxers with fear. Because it wasn't the police, it was a load of men en masse holding tools as weapons. I looked at them for what felt like seconds, but was probably only a fraction of one, and then tried slamming the door in their faces, but it was too slow. The man who'd been banging stuck his boot out, stopping me from being able to close it, and then another one of them rushed forward to either kick the door or slam his shoulder into it, because the next thing I know, the frame is flying out of my grip, and they're shoving their way inside. I tried running to my kitchen because the back door was there, but since I kept that one locked too, I was still trying to turn the key when one of the guys rushed in and grabbed me. I tried shoving him off and fighting him, but he had a hammer, and one blow from that was all it took to get me to give up. I had my back against the kitchen's back door, hands raised, and tried to fend off. Do. Ever received a written, wrapped letter to you from one of your fans? I don't think so. Am I aware of Italian brain rot? I am, yeah. My buddy's daughter, she literally draws like bombadino cambadimo or whatever the fuck. Like and I think I mentioned it before, but she gets like upset whenever I say the names wrong. Like I say them because to me I thought brain rot was just like I honestly didn't even know brain rot was like a thing kids watched, the Italian one. Scappalido hotatio. Tralalero tralalala. There was one character in there that's like just part of the Italian brain rot that's like so out of place. We should probably look up all the characters, huh? Italian brain rottington. Ballerino cappuccino. Okay, so we got... Wait, they have a movie coming out? I just love that it's just called brain rot. Like you're just... Like it's part of your entertainment. There was one that was just like so out of place. It was very weird. I don't know if it's ballerina. It was like something... Like you're like, that should not be a character. Jolino Cucumberini and my assolio. I don't know. I have no idea. These all look like AI generated slop, which kind of makes it hilarious. Assassino cappuccino. No, there was one. I swear to God, one of them just like wore like a burqa or something like that, and I just thought it was really funny. Maybe it was totally unrelated. I don't remember. Tung tung sahur. God, what the fuck? Why is that popular with kids? Like, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but it's like funny to think that they don't see it as like a joke. What the hell was that? Was that a soda? Did you guys open one up? Why does the skin on your fingertips always peel off? Oh, are you biting them? Take you chomping away? Dr. Pepper. Talking about him, but I don't think I saw. What are you talking about? How much Fent do you do per week? Not a lot, like just enough to pay the bills. And by that, I mean, why is everybody's messages getting... Oh, you don't have to delete everybody's messages. I tried running my kitchen because my deck door was... Okay. I was so trying to... When the guy rushed to grab me, I tried shoving him off and fighting him, but he had a hammer, and one blow from that was all it took to get me to give up. I had my back up against the kitchen's back door, hands raised to try and fend off another hammer blow, while shouting about how they can take whatever they want if they didn't hurt me anymore. I thought it was just a very aggressive burglary, and that after taking my TV and laptop they'd be on their way. But I was wrong. Dead wrong. They all had balaclavas on, and mostly wore black or other dark colors, so the only way that I could tell them apart was by what they were wearing or carrying. And that's how, when the one with the hammer backed off a bit, I recognized the fella who'd been banging on my door as he stepped in. He pointed a wrench at me, and then told me in... Ballerina Kumbachina. So I'm not gonna lie, when I listen to your videos to sleep at night when I can't, your voice is soothing, and even the background music is chooses and you're cracking the code in my sleepy brain. Yeah, it might just be like also on top of like listening to something to sleep and it works one time, I think it also tells like your brain, you know, it's like routines, like the bedtime routine. So this also tells your brain to like sort of shut down because it's sort of expecting it, you know? So it's just like a kind of like addiction in a good way, that like sort of habit forming process. Ram Bellatram left some subscriptions. So you go, oh yeah, dude, did I miss your? I just remember that. I don't know how I did that. Thank you so much, Ram, for the 5 gifters. I don't know how I missed those. David, Sarah, Sanawi, Randine Bazosa, Michael Terrell, and Direct Signal David. Thank you again, Ram. Appreciate you, dude. Thank you for 44 months too. That's crazy. And thank you for the 5. Stay safe in Mexico. Excuse me, I burped. Excuse me, I burped and I collected in a jar. Have you guys seen the meme of the one guy who, like, it's kind of like a looping motion, but he's like, he goes into stores and he wears kind of a t-shirt that only like just barely covers like his underwear, but he's got like really, really short shorts on, and he's just kind of like doing a motion that's like loops back and forth. He's just wearing like really, really short shorts and like should not be out in public. Thank you, sir, for doing what you're doing. I'm new here, but definitely appreciate it live. Oh, you're welcome, bro. Good to see you. I don't know. It's always weird because there's so much content that, like, how can you ever expect anyone to ever watch the same shit that you've seen? I probably shouldn't be watching it, but can I recreate it? Yeah, I'll post it on the community tab. It sounds like the exact kind of guy who should be in public. That's true. I wouldn't mind, you know, I wouldn't bug him. I'm glad he's confident. But, oh yeah, he's barefoot too. I think that's the big issue. In like a Walmart. He pointed a wrench at me and then told me in no uncertain terms that if I didn't cooperate, they were going to kill me. Now, I just nodded like, yeah, okay. And then he grabbed me by the hair and dragged me into the front room. And once I was there, I saw one of the men pull out a length of blue plastic cord from the front pocket of his hoodie. I started to panic again, because it was obvious they were planning to tie me up, but all it took was another couple of threats before I decided the rope was preferable to the hammer. I thought they wanted me tied up so I couldn't cause problems for them. I also wouldn't be able to phone the police until long after they'd left. But again, I was wrong. They had other plans for me. They tied my wrists behind my back, then tied my ankles and knees together before pushing me onto the couch. I told them all a second time to take whatever they wanted, and I thought that they'd go about carrying off the TV and all that to what I assumed was a van waiting outside. But instead, they started asking me where my stash spots were. For the second time that night, I got that horrible sick feeling, and it came when I realized that my big secret, the one I'd worked so hard to protect, wasn't a secret anymore. I tried playing ignorant at first, saying that I didn't know what they were talking about, but that didn't wash. One of the blokes started bashing my legs with something heavy, and when I screamed, another one clamped his hand over my mouth. They kept on hitting me over and over, while I screamed into that guy's hand. But when they asked me again where my stash was, I somehow found the will to play ignorant again. I suppose that was the thought of losing all that money I had hidden away, which by that point was a couple of £1,000, that kept my mouth shut, and I was amazed that I had the minerals in me to withstand a round of torture. But when they upped the ante and threatened to start cutting off my toes with a pair of pliers, I broke. I screamed at them to stop as soon as I felt cold metal on one of those toes. One of my dogs. We'll cut off your little dogs. Send the piggy wee 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 all the way home. No, not the piggies. Not the piggies. Okay, I'll talk. Have you seen those videos of people wearing shoes but cutting the soles off? That sounds made up. Have you seen the one of Bozo the Clown? where he like is doing Bozo does the dub. He like Bozo dubbed over. Let's Manlu. What's Manlu? Joel's piggies are insured 157k each. I could use that. Get me out of a bit of a bind. I screamed at them to stop as soon as I felt cold metal on one of my toes, and then told them exactly where they needed to look to find both my money and the ounce bags of weed that I had hidden away upstairs. Two of the guys kept watching over me while the other ran upstairs to grab everything. I heard them rummaging around for a bit, and then suddenly I heard one of them shout, "Found it." A few seconds later, they came back downstairs holding the bags I kept my cash and ganja in, and then once the lead bloke was happy with everything there, he ordered his boys out of the house, but not before telling me one of them, "Oi, put him to sleep." Guys, what else is going on? Make me mad about something. Or make me happy. Make me mad and happy at the same time. I want to feel all of the things. What's up, L? L. Taking the W. Joel, you need a PR, like a personal record, on squat and bench and deadlift. Sabayu. What's my favorite superhero? Probably the Hulk. Just because he's very straightforward. You heard they're banning piss? Like the drinkable kind? Or CERN is going to be your new employer? Instead of Google, I work at CERN, making YouTube videos. Very Manlu Hulk. I guess that's true, all piss is drinkable, it's just up to you. Are you brave enough? You barely found out what Sabau means. It is kind of funny, like once, like who was even in charge of that? Some guy on Instagram was like, alright, I'm gonna type SYBAU, meaning shut your bitch ass up, and everyone is just gonna understand what it means, and then they're gonna use it. What are your thoughts on Tony Stark abusing the use of AI? Has he actually? Is this confirmed? Would I ever piss on someone's grave? I don't think so. I don't know, man. Probably not. Seems like a waste of piss. Any TV shows you recommend? Fuck, man. No, I don't like anything ever. They use ChatGPT to build Mark II. Who is it? Isn't Tony Stark old school? Rena, thank you. Arrested Development. Yeah, Arrested Development is a good show. I watched all 4 seasons of that. But yeah, TV does just, I don't even know. Just watch K-pop Demon Hunter. That's all you need. Just watch that on 50 times on repeat. Lovecraft Country is a great show. Sad they're not making anymore. They're like sesame seeds. Like on a burger bun? But not before telling one of them to put me to sleep. I thought that was it, that they were going to kill me to make sure that there was no witnesses. I was almost relieved when I saw the bloke who approached me draw back his fist in preparation to punch me, and then when he did, it landed right on my jaw, and at that moment everything started to go fuzzy. When I next opened my eyes, the masked men were gone and the house was quiet again. I remember being robbed, but somehow tied up had slipped my mind, so it was only when I tried to move again that I realized I couldn't. I started to panic again, because I realized that even though that I started to panic again because I realized that even though I'd been... Do I watch all 5 seasons? Wait, of which one? Of Sabayu? Anger and happy at the same time. Okay, AI is going to take over, but your stories will get a lot of content like 80s movies. Arrested Dev. Oh, there's 5 seasons of Arrested Development? I thought there was just 4. Or maybe I did watch it. I definitely watched the one where they... Oh, you know what? I watched the ones where they were younger, right? And then they had the season where they like kind of reconvened, and I watched the first episode of that. And it was like not good at all. Because all the characters were like split up and in different directions, and it was kind of like... The first episode was like slowly introducing them back together, and it was just really awkward and weird and not funny. It just like didn't have the same like speed and energy as the previous ones, whoever was the director of that. Sarah R. Lady with the 5 says there's gonna be a Nakasu more for Halloween. Anybody else have cool costume ideas going all out this year? Probably have to make it though. You can go as Rumi from K-pop Demon Hunter. Or somebody from Arrested Development. Those are the only 2 shows I know. You met 3 ravens, they're huge. How'd you meet 3? Me and Rumi are doing good. I started to panic again because I realized that even though I'd be missed at work in the next couple of hours, my bosses wouldn't jump straight to calling the police. They'd just assume that I'd pulled a sick or something. And if I didn't get myself some help now, I could be stuck in the house for God knows how long, waiting for someone to knock at the door or realize I was missing. The thoughts scared the crap out of me, and even though it hurt like a bastard to fight against the ropes, I did everything I could to loosen them. It was no good though, and by the time I kept it cutting into my wrists, I knew that I'd have to try something else. I ended up hopping over to my home phone, which sat on the coffee table in the back room. I sat myself down on the floor, kicked it off the table so the handset got a dial tone, and then I called the only person whose phone number I knew off by heart, the dealer I used to buy from. I had to try a few times because he didn't answer the first few times I called, but then finally, after feeling my hope shrink down to almost nothing, he answered the phone with a very groggy, "Yo." And I told him it was an emergency, that he needed to come over to my place right away. He replied that he had his kid with him, so he couldn't make it, and I reckon that he thought that after a few fresh ounces, but... whoops. I reckon. I frickin' reckon. Feed all the doves and pigeons in my neighborhood? That's awesome. I'm a sucker for the Idol song, but love the last song they sing, made me tear a little bit. Yeah, they're good. I don't remember any of them, but if I heard them, I'd be like, these are good. They're eating the doigs. When was the last time I heard reckon? I don't know. I think they say it in the UK and like it's like they say it in the UK, they say it in Australia, and then they say it in the South, which I think a lot of like Southern culture came from Scotland or like Northern England. Did Joel recently get out of prison? Yeah, fresh out the can. Me and Prison Mike, Prison Joel. Worst part about prison is the Dementors. I replied that he and his kid were... Whoops. He replied that he had his kid with him, so he couldn't make it. And I reckoned that he thought that it was after a few fresh ounces, but when I told him what had happened, he said he'd come over as soon as possible. I told him where I'd hidden a spare back door key in the garden, and then after he hung up, I just laid there, praying that he'd show up. About half an hour later, I heard someone climbing over the back fence, And that's when I got up and hopped towards the sliding doors in the back room, and I felt this deep feeling of relief when I saw who walked into the garden. It was the dealer, true to his word, and after he unlocked that back door, he helped cut away the ropes and free me. He couldn't stay long. He really did have his kid with him, and she was asleep in the backseat of his car, but after I explained what had happened, he actually told me I was lucky. He knew about one fella who'd come away with a nasty scar on his chest, where the gang had taken a hot clothing iron to him, and another who never walked properly again after a gang smashed one of his knees to pieces. I remember asking him, "What do I do now? I can't phone the police, can I?" And all he said back was, "Move, and to the other side of the city if possible, because once they've found you, they always come back." And I took his advice, and I moved house as soon as possible. It wrecked me financially because obviously I was still under a contract I had to fight to be free of, but wild horses couldn't have stopped me moving because there was no way that I was going to risk going through that again. I finally stopped selling too. I'd always known that I wasn't cut out for that life, and that's why I promised myself it'd be a temporary thing. But seeing and experiencing the brutal realities up close was another thing entirely. There are some bad men in the world, but it's nice to know I'm not one of them. I'm your stomach. Alright, that was story 2. How do I have a funny accent? What's my funny accent? People have told me I have a very neutral accent. I work for the bourgeoisie. What's a bourgeoisie? Is that a football team? Life is so weird. Yeah, good to see you. What's happening? I'd say it's chaotic neutral. I sound like James Charles. Hey, sisters. Waiting for my ass cheeks to get absolutely clapped. Any day now. I'm such a good person. Nothing about me is bad ever. Just over 20 years ago now, when our daughter was still in diapers, my wife and I moved out of our one-bedroom apartment and into what we called our starter home. It was a 2-bedroom townhouse right on the boundary between the city and the suburbs, and we were in love with it from the moment we attended viewing. We lived there for almost 10 years, and it was a great place to live, and I've got a lot of very happy memories of our daughter's childhood in that house. But it's also the place where I experienced one of the most frightening and disturbing things of my entire life. The street that we lived on was kind of out of the way, and that meant peace, quiet, and a very low crime rate. It was serene compared to the neighborhood of our old apartment, and that was a place where you basically had to be on your toes all the time. So after a few months of living there, I slowly started to let my guard down. I still kept all the doors locked at night, and I still kept my gun ready to go in. Joel, what do you think about James replacing David Attenborough on National Geographic as narrator? I hope to God that's real. I hope that's real, but I also hope you made it up, and that's because it's really funny. Hey, sisters. So basically, over here is a really fucking scary, lizard. Oh my god. Oh my god, is it gonna eat that little bug? Oh Oh my god, I should shove it in my ass. Oh my god. We had to stop filming because James would not stop shoveling things into his rectum. It was quite disturbing. Oh my god. David, you're such a drama queen. Whatever you say, you absolute freak on a leash. I still kept all the doors locked at night, and I still kept my gun ready to go in its lockbox, but I stopped having to be so suspicious of crazy neighbors and local weirdos, and it was great. But then imagine the terror that I felt when I woke up in the middle of the night in our peaceful new neighborhood and heard noises coming from downstairs. My wife was asleep next to me, and our daughter was in her crib just a feet from our bed. Just a feet. Just 1 feet. What foundation of shade do I use? I'm always throwing shade. I'm like an elm. I'm like an elm tree. I'm so shady. What do you think your BET feature is? Those fucking giant quads. I don't have any directly, but I could relay other people's. What are you talking about? Oh, wait, what? Oh, wildlife stories. Do you get belly button lint or do you have it outie? I don't know. I've been collecting it for years. I can send it to you. What's funny is that James Charles repeatedly said me doesn't take it in the back door. Meanwhile, he posts the cheeks on Instagram every year at Coachella. He lying. Yeah, I really can't imagine James Charles like taking a dominant role. Whatever. It's absolutely demonic. Demonic. The regular Let's Read videos put me to sleep at the live stream. Keep you awake. Keep you on your toes. On your tootsies. I don't know. YouTube is... What even is YouTube? It's really nothing anymore. How common are Audis? Oh, that is a good poll, actually. Let's do that. Start. How do I even do that? Start poll. Any or Audi? You guys gotta be honest. And it won't show if you are or not. You just gotta be honest. Audi. Start poll. Cast your vote now. What makes me think I'm a good friend? I just help people, I guess, and I hang out with people a lot and they like me, you know? A flatty. A baddie with a flatty. You accidentally clicked Audi. Too late. Now you have a hernia. Justin Ballas with the 2. It's illegal for you to ask me that. And it's illegal for you to not respond. I'm talking about people's assholes, by the way, just so you guys are aware. Any or prolapsed? Sorry, I'm just kidding. I was making a silly joke. Did my mother tape a penny to your belly button? It's still in there, bro. I can't get that shit out. It's a good luck charm. There's like a entire forest of elves in there that worship the penny. I love this penny. It gives us power, and it's highly conductive. Yeah, if you're an Audi, someone's got a 5-inch Audi. Like, I think that's your guts. Girls have innies. Good to know. Parents left me behind in a 10 or 100 yards from the boat, thinking I was behind them, both carrying my younger sisters. Cut the bow line and drifted downriver while I was face to face with a bear. That's crazy. Lazy doctors. Okay. But then imagine the terror that I felt when I woke up in the middle of the night in our peaceful new neighborhood and heard noises coming from downstairs. My wife was asleep next to me and our daughter was in her crib just a few feet away from our bed, so I knew whoever was downstairs must have broken in somehow. I woke up... What the fuck? I'm sorry, guys. This has been such a tough night. I don't even know where that came from. Some sort of devilish beast. I woke up my wife, told her what was going on, and then told her to call the cops while I made sure the home invader didn't make it upstairs. Then I made for my closet, grabbed my gun from the lockbox, and then crept out into the upstairs hallway as quietly as possible. Looking back on it, I can remember the exact point I changed my mind on what I was going to do. I knew that I didn't want to kill anybody because, no matter the circumstances, I didn't want that on my conscience. But I also wanted this mother effer to pay for breaking into my family's home and putting my girls in danger. So that's when I made up my mind to try and surprise them, and then keep them where they were under pain of death till the cops showed up and arrested them. Once I was maybe 2/3 of the way down the stairs, still creeping quieter than a mouse, I heard noises coming from our kitchen. I figured they'd be in the... What's my opinion on goobas? A big pile of goobas. I love goobas. Did you guys see that video of the guy? He was like sweeping his house with like his AR, and then it was like the camera, I don't know who was filming him. I think it was his wife following behind him with like a night vision camera, and he was sweeping the house with like an AR, and then he turned the corner and a giant fucking bear was in his goddamn cabin house and came like as he turned the corner, it was coming directly at him, and he put like 3 shots into it and it just like fell dead. And I'm just like, holy shit, bro. Holy shit. It was nuts. I don't even know how it popped up, but can we talk about the political and economic state of the world right now? Just look in the mirror, bro. How do those work? Where did I watch this? I think it was on Instagram. Insta Slam. I haven't seen it. Have you seen the one where Bozo does the dub? It was a panda bear? No way. This thing was huge. Black bear but hard to tell from the dark video. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. That makes more sense. I don't think it was a gorilla. Or, not a gorilla, a polar bear. I figured they'd be in the living room, where all the most valuable stuff was, but when I heard sounds from the kitchen, I realized that I'd have to creep all the way down the first floor corridor without alerting whoever was there. My heart was thumping like a drum as I walked barefoot along the wooden floor, and I seriously struggled to maintain my cool as I heard them moving forward. Moving around. Moving around. As they were moving around. Hey, Marianka, take care. Good to see you. My heart was thumping like a drum as I walked barefoot along the wooden floor, and I seriously struggled to maintain my cool as I heard them moving around. I froze when I heard the faint sound of a chair leg scraping against the linoleum floor, then listening as I heard the sound of someone opening and closing cabinets. I guess that should have been a clue right there, that someone was digging around through our kitchen cabinets and not our living room with its brand new DVD player. God damn it, I was not ready for DVD player. Drum or cymbals? What are you talking about? I mean, I'm pretty north currently, but I'm technically from the southwest. What you talking about, Willis? Willistine? Do I still use DVDs? No, I guess I stream everything now, which is crazy. I mean, I guess if I had a Blu-ray player, which I think the PS4 has a Blu-ray player on it, I could probably play DVDs on there too, right? Do I know the clabbered milk guy? I haven't heard of that, no. What are your thoughts on the trailer for 28 Years Later sequel? I haven't seen it yet. I'm sure it's freaking sweet. But, I don't know. I was kind of hit or miss with the 28 Years Later movie itself, so I don't know how excited I am for the sequel. But I'll probably still see it, honestly, because who cares? Thoughts on Southwest changing their one free checking bag policy to paying for all checked bags? It's bullshit. We should start a protest. I guess that should have been a clue right there, that someone was digging through our kitchen cabinets and not our living room with its brand new DVD player. But at the time, I was too hopped up on adrenaline to think about anything other than my plan, and things didn't drop until I peeked around the kitchen doorway. I had my gun ready and was about to tear around that area like I was in a movie shouting, "Freeze!" But when I peeked around the corner and into the barely lit kitchen, there was just enough light coming through the windows for me to see that it wasn't some 6-foot jailbird armed to the teeth. It was a little kid. He was wearing what looked like shorts but nothing on top, and he was standing on a chair while digging through our snack cabinet. I watched him stuffing the pocket of his shorts with candy and chocolate bars, and as I did, all the anger just went out of me and was replaced by a kind of sadness. I didn't want to frighten him, not just because he was a kid who was, from his height, looked to be no older than 6 or 7, but because I was scared that he might fall off the chair and hit his head on the corner of the kitchen table. I thought about whispering something softly, just to gently get his attention, but I decided that would probably come off as creepy and maybe scare him even worse than just yelling something at him. But then it occurred to me to just switch on the kitchen light. And the second I did, the kid's head sprung around You still have your Discman? I don't think it still works though. Dude, those were tough. I mean, I remember the Walkmans or whatever, and they only ever worked for so long till they started just permanently skipping every CD, sometimes ruining a CD. That was the worst. Cradle of Filth drama. I'm not familiar with Cradle of Filth. Who's even that? Cradle of Filth. Oh, who would have guessed that people dressed like that would have drama in their lives? The drama is that they ran out of white makeup. Let's look it up. Computer, what is the what the fuck is it called? Cradle of Poop? Filth. Cradle of Filth drama ? Bad contracts. Oh, that's all they had. 2 members left the band stating band contracts and Danny as a tool. Well, that's fair. If they don't like being there and then they don't get paid, that honestly sounds very fair. Let's see. Mid-tour exit, 2 members, Zoe Marie Fedorov, Shortly thereafter, her husband, Merrick. Okay, yeah. So a couple. Do you never want to, like, have a couple, especially like a guy and a girl in a band? I feel like everyone just fucks each other, and then just, especially if they're together, it's just going to be chaos. Public allegations, contract reveal, Fedorov publicly detailed multiple issues, low wages, toxic environment, and alleged abuse by management, releasing a contract that a lawyer called the most psychopathic contract a session musician could ever be handed. Yeah. I heard that, bro. That's all I need to hear. Fuck that shit. Whatever. Cradle of filth? More like tub of poop. Tub of soap. What if they made poop soap? Make your own. Sugar syrup, red dye, apples, stick place, wax paper. That sounds yummy. I stopped eating candy and drinking coffee soda after my last dentist visit 6 months ago. There you go, it's not bad. What's up, Siamon? Oregon Ducks. Nah, man. Oregon's looking good, though. I saw... Who did they beat? Or did they lose? Oregon Ducks football record. So they played Illinois. Interesting. What was the score of the Illinois game? Oh, come on. Why is everything so fucking hard to find sometimes? Or did they play Illinois? I don't know. I don't even care. Just tell me. Who did they play and what was the score? Joe make a chocolate scent poop soap compete with Charlie Penguin's Cheeky brand? Did he actually make poop soap? Penn State versus Oregon this year. I mean, I do know that they play this year. Pretty early on, I think. Which will be two, like, if Penn State's number 2, I think Oregon's number 1, right? That'd be an insane game. Or is Oregon number 3 or 4? It was 59-10. Okay. The second I did, the kid's head spun around to look at me, and he just froze looking at me. All I said was, "It's okay. It's okay, buddy." And then I asked him super softly if he was hungry. The kid didn't answer, but even if he had, I'm not sure that I'd have heard him. I tried to stay very smiley and friendly looking too, so as not to alarm him, but once I got a good look at the kid, that smile was wiped from my face. Like I said, the kid was bare-chested and wearing shorts, but he was also barefoot too, and his hair was really short, like someone had given him a buzz cut. Give me a buzz cut. But he was barefoot too, and his hair was really short, like someone had given him a buzz cut in the last couple of weeks. But what really caught my attention were all the scars he had all over his chest and arms. They were small enough to be cigarette burns, but they weren't circular. His feet were made out of bears. They were small enough to be cigarette burns, but they also weren't circular either, so Lord knows what caused them. There were a lot of them too, maybe 24 spread all over, but that's not all this kid had on his body. Because on his face, neck, and right arm were these small black symbols, and that poor kid had been tattooed. I asked the kid what his name was, trying to get him talking and calm him down, but he didn't talk, not once. He just got down off the chair very slow with his pockets stuffed with candy, and then stood very still and stared at me. I asked him if he'd run away from home. He stayed quiet, but his eyes darted over to our pantry and the back door beyond. I couldn't see inside the pantry from where I was standing in the kitchen doorway, so when his eyes went there, the first thing I thought was, holy crap, he's not alone. I jumped back from the kitchen doorway and raised my gun towards the pantry, half expecting the monster who scarred up that kid to come bouncing around the corner with a weapon of his own raised. But the only thing I saw was the kid go tearing past my field of view and ran into the pantry. I waited a second before moving to peek inside, and then when I did, the last I saw of the kid was his feet just sort of wriggling through the doggy door. The doggy door had been installed before we moved in, and since we planned to get a dog in the near future, we actually kept it. And it was so bizarre to me that if I'd have woken up right then, and the whole thing had been nothing but a dream, I would not have been surprised in the least. Would I be too scared for horror mazes? I would like to try a horror maze. That sounds fun. Do you just get completely lost out there? Like a huge one. Like a huge maze would be really cool. To the point where they have to get a helicopter to come find me. It was so bizarre to me that It was so bizarre to me that if I'd have woken up right then, and the whole thing had been nothing but a dream, I would not have been surprised at all. But it was real. So after taking a few seconds to process everything, I called the cops to tell them what happened. Now, just to be clear, I didn't call 911 to report a break-in or trespassing or anything like that. I called because I saw a kid who had been subjected to some horrific physical abuse. He needed to be found, and he needed to be rescued. Once I told her it was safe and that the cops were stopping by, my wife came downstairs to make some coffee. And these two uniformed cops stopped by about an hour later, and I told them everything I could about the kid's appearance and how he'd acted. Now, one of them asked if I noticed anything strange about any of my neighbors or noticed any behavior that suggested that they might be hiding something. And the answer to that was definitely no. I hadn't met anyone who set off any alarm bells, but the cop then suggested that if the kid was climbing through these doggy doors to steal candy, he could have been starving after being on the run for days. But on the run from who, you know? What kind of person treats a child like that? Now, I wish the cops a ton of luck before I left because, good God, I did not want them to find that kid. Or I did want them to did want to find the kid, and more than 20 years later, the day is not running at some side. I haven't been watching enough horror movies lately. Don't worry. They'll just disappoint you, as always. There's another Five Nights at Freddy's movie coming. Five Nights at Freddy's, Five Nights at Freddy's, Five Nights at Freddy's. I wish the cops a ton of luck before I left, because good God did I want them to find that kid, and more than 20 years later, there's not a day that goes by that I'm not reminded of him in some way. Five Nights at Freddy's, Five Nights at Jolie's. Art Deco. That was so Art Deco. Art Deco mode. I'm still wondering who would not want to piss on someone's grave. I mean, like just any grave ever? Like just any random grave you get to pee on it? I don't really know why that would be so appealing to really anybody. Pass pee on grave? What are you saying, man? Go to Horror Nights at Universal Studios. Where's that at? That's in California, right? Horror Nights. Welcome. Yeah, what if I were to pee on their grave and then they reach up and grab my fucking cock? Now you got a zombie cock. Oh, it's in Florida. I'm a fake Florida fan, I know. Every time they do anything, I should know exactly what they're up to here in Pennsylvania. You don't know if there's any spiritual stuff rising from it. That's true. Like, I could be pissing on the grave and kind of like that one leech that exists in like the Amazon forest. It could like swim up my piss, like his ghost could swim up my piss stream and possess me through my wiener. I've seen weirder stuff happen, folks. I've seen weirder stuff happen. Also, can I just say that whoever thought going down and dismantling the cartel in South America, wherever they're going, Venezuela, is like the fucking worst idea of all time. Because if like the quote-unquote dismantling of like Islamic terror in the Middle East has caused like the displacement of millions of people from those areas, don't you think like war in South America, like full-on United States involvement, is not just gonna like cause the displacement of more people? I don't know, it just seems like such a fucking bad idea. It's just for fun. Yeah, it must be. They ran out of fucking shit to shoot. It's just weird to think like we always have to be at war. Like it's just always forever gotta be war. And it's weird to think like, I remember Trump acted like he was like the peaceful president, no new wars. It's like, what the fuck is that? Sending soldiers? I mean, granted, I understand we were heavily involved in South America in general, but this does sound like it's just gonna like continue and escalate forever. Okay, so only 12% of you guys have an Audi vehicle or belly button. Also, that's how MS-13 rose from it. Oh, really? From creating like a power vacuum or some shit? I don't know. At this point, I just like, we can only assume every like choice that's supposedly for like some kind of greater good is just to cause like countless amounts of destructive pain upon everybody else on Earth. And here and there too, I guess. If you guys want to poo or pee or puke on my grave, I won't mind. Flowers will grow from it. That's a good point. That's a good point. Any domination. He's been the false prophet of peace talked about in Revelations. You think so? Maybe. Who knows what's going on? Shit's fucking stupid. I think people on both sides are pretty fucking well over it at this point. Like they can see through the sort of like both sides being controlled by the same groups. It has been very successful, I would say, as an operation to divide everyone. That's been great. But I think maybe the faster we wake up to the fact that it's like a divisionary tactic, maybe the less likely we will continue to break down. Like resets daily, so I want to check the stop and goals and stuff. Work smart at. What are you talking about? Can you hide things in your innie? I have tried, no luck. You could try again. You just gotta get fatter. Just kidding. Abraham Accords are now broken. What's that mean? I remember Abraham Accords. Series of agreements in 2020 that normalized diplomatic relations between Israel and several Arab nations, including the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Sudan, Morocco, with the support of Trump administration. These accords aim to foster new Arab peace, stability, and economic growth in the Middle East by promoting mutual understanding. How did, like, breaking it with Gaza or something? Or like, how did they break it with? Joe, if you go anywhere near the East Coast again, Joel will hunt me down and slaughter me. It's true. I will climb inside your innie. You're talking about Hello Kitty. Nice. When I was a much younger man, I used to work as a security guard at a chemical plant down in my home country of Mexico. And since I didn't kiss my boss's culo like some of the other guards did, I worked all night shifts all the time. Now I thought I'd hate it at first, but after a couple of weeks, I realized it wasn't just easy, it was kind of peaceful too. Some of the other guards used to say it creeped them out to hang around a closed-down factory at night, but I didn't mind it. But not until I found those kids. You see, just over a year into the job, one of the bar gates on the plant's front end... The bar gates. We're playing the first Resident Evil, it's still scary. Oh, there was a Resident Evil game that, style game that just came out. Steam. Welcome to Steam. It's like a new... Is it this one? The First Descendant? No, not that one. That looks kind of cool. Helldivers 2 got an update. It's hard as shit and kind of stupid. Overwatch 2 always sucks and the people on it are retarded. Chronos, The New Dawn. Have you guys seen that? Chronos, The New Dawn? Got very positive reviews. It's a survival horror third-person shooter game. And it looks like a science fiction survival horror type situation. Keep praying for me. Hopefully it'll work this time. What's up, Anon? I saw a gameplay of Silent Hill. It still looks horrific. Like bad or scary. New Silent Hill movie. I might go see that. I don't even know. Just over a year into the job, one of the bar gates on the plant's front entrance suffered a minor malfunction. It could have been a local teenager who broke it, or maybe they just figured it out or overheard it someplace, but the bar didn't completely lock when it was down, meaning a person could just stop, get out and lift up the bar before a second person drove the car right through into the plant. Now, the first time I saw a car parked around the back of the plant, I shined my flashlight at it, and it took off toward the front gate like a bat out of hell. I chased it around front and... You can barely handle playing Repo. I really want to play Repo. It looks fun. I played this one game yesterday called Strafed or something. Strafta. I don't even know. It was one of the... It was like, you know, Jack Frags. He like does all the shooter sort of gaming. I don't even know what the heck Jack Frags channel is. He literally just like plays... He just plays Battlefield and he's like, yo, this is crazy. Look, mates. This is fucking crazy. This guy's got a big gun and I'm going to shoot a big gun at him, you know, and it's like, okay. But he had this game called Strafe that he said, he's like, the game that no one even knows about that even exists and you should know about it now. And it's like a 2v2 sort of like Quake style game where you get one life and that's it. And you kind of pick weapons up off the ground, kind of like old school, like Turok or just those old school shooters. But it's just like really buggy. There's no matchmaking system. Like it would be so much better if it was like, I don't know, like 12-person free-for-all or some shit. But every time you like die, it like switch it. There's over 300 maps or something, which is kind of interesting. But I don't know. There's something about it that just feels very fumbled. Like it has an opportunity to be really good, but like actually connecting with anybody is... You have to like host things, and then being that it's only 2v2 just kind of blows. Am I done with Rivals? Yeah, I haven't played Marvel Rivals in forever. I think that game is just shit. I don't know. Like just the way that it's balanced. It's like the healers heal too much. The only way to kill the healers is with, you know, flanking DPS that are equally bullshit, and there's really not much the healers can do to them overall to defend themselves. And then... You know, if the healers stop healing for like 1 second, people get killed because there's so much burst damage in that game. So it's like you need so much burst damage, so much burst healing. I don't know. The pacing of it doesn't feel like a skill-based game as much as it is like a weird RPG MOBA style game. At least with like Overwatch, even though Overwatch sucks ass all the time, like at least Overwatch felt like you could like 1v1 people and it felt fair in some ways, whereas like based on skill. But there's just like not a lot of skill in fucking Marvel. I think it's just crap. Is my Hearthstone addiction worse than Overwatch? A little. Well, maybe not as bad as it was Overwatch, but I do find myself just being, because Hearthstone's so much like RNG, and then you don't get the shit you need, and you're like pissed. You're like, fuck this game, and then I find myself like 5 seconds later like, I'm gonna boot up Hearthstone and see what's going on over there. And I'm like, oh fuck, I'm back here again inside this slot machine town. I haven't played Diablo 4. I did play it a little bit. It was really only like a short period of time. It was okay, you know what I mean? I think it would have benefited from some more like satisfying kills and ragdoll and shit. I still play Rivals and Overwatch despite being an adult. I mean, it's fair, dude. It's fair. It's just it's a toxic, it's weird. It's like one of those like toxic positivity communities where they're all just like sensitive as shit about everything, but also dumb, you know, low IQ, and they just, I don't know, they'll get you banned. They'll be as toxic as shit by getting you banned, but then at the same time they're big fucking stupid fat babies that smell like shit and never wash. And then the balance team is like full of a bunch of dumbos. Okay, riddle me this, Batman, in Overwatch. Like, how the fuck did they think, after everyone begged them, and Marvel Rivals came out and it was 6v6 and it was like open queue, whatever the fuck, Overwatch is like, we got it. We'll add 6v6 open queue, which is the worst version of Overwatch, even though we had 2-2-2 forever. And everybody loved that one the most in like 2020. And now, you know, they had so many issues balancing the game in general. So in their mind, they're like, I got it. We'll add 3 total modes and not like tell anyone what the main mode is. So you got 6v6 that they got to balance. They got 5v5 they got to balance. And then they got this stupid fucking arena mode that no one, I mean, I'm sure it's fun or whatever. The perks were a good idea, but it's like, it's amazing to me that the only way they could get the Overwatch developers to fucking do anything, and I'm sure that there was limitations on the funding they had available for them to actually do stuff. They probably were begging to do things, but, you know, the people at the top were like, go fuck yourself. But then the fact that Marvel Rivals showed up, and then it was like, well, we got to do something, and so they reinvigorate it with a bunch of little changes. But at the end of the day, it's like if you end up splitting your player base down in 3 ways, where it's like you can go play 5v5, go play 6v6, go play the other one, you know, it's just like, you know, it just, I don't know. How are you ever going to have like a normal game that everybody knows what like the base mode is, you know? Do I like being called cute? Yeah, I love it, dude. It's awesome. I'm the cutest motherfucker in the freaking world. Got little dimples that need squeezing, bro. Nicole Canales, welcome to the Buttersalt Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Based AF. I don't know, man. I'm just like done. In my opinion, Helldivers is the only good game. I'm sure there's other games, but it's like literally Helldiver. Like any game where it's just a nice, fun co-op experience with your friends, that's fun, right? And then single players games are fun. All these like competitive games that are just ongoing live services, it like behooves the, you know, game balancers and devs to just break their game to quote unquote keep it interesting. It's so stupid. BG3. I enjoyed BG3, but it was like you had to be like locked in the whole time. You like, if you went off into a little closet to like smell some princess's panties or something, you had to be ready that you were going to get shrunk down to like panties, you know, smaller than the size of panties, and then be pulled into like basically a game-ending, you know, battle that would take a half hour before you die. So, you know, I don't know. It was one of those games where it's fun, but it's like, holy shit, like you could do like one small part and it would be 3 hours later. Zelda Breath of the Wild. I really did like Zelda Breath of the Wild when I did it. And I'm such a, I don't know, I'm such a stickler, you know, for anything anymore. And honestly, the fact that like Zelda went from like kind of having more of a linear approach where like you unlock this item and you unlock this area and like the difficulty kind of ramps up based on the fact that you're making like linear progressions. Whenever like Zelda being open world is kind of cool. Like I like the building aspects, I like the climbing and all that kind of shit, degree of creativity. But at the same time, the fact that like they had the system where you would go into the caves as the dungeons, and the difficulty between them wasn't like ramping up in difficulty or complexity. It was all kind of just the same baseline difficulty throughout the whole thing, or you could choose which of the 4 regions to go to at your leisure. That's neat, but I kind of liked it. So Tears of the Kingdom greater than Breath of the Wild. Tears of the Kingdom still the overall best game ever made too. Yeah, I know you really like that one. If you played Zelda for NES, it's more open world. Yeah, I do remember. I guess they were kind of going back to that too, huh? What's up, Lisa? How you doing? I think we already talked about it, but I like Mario Odyssey on the Switch. Oh, it's so good, yeah. Well, yeah, not as good as Galaxy, though. If you ever get a chance to play Galaxy 2 on the Nintendo Wii, that shit is baller as hell. Anyone want to follow the licorice rope into the sweet tunnel with me? Where are you going? Strauss Outdoors with the 5 says, I'm gonna do left-handed any alien Texas outlaw things. Here's the bail money. Justin won't do it anymore. Justin, you need to get him out, dude. Save his ass. All Zeldas are open world, just Breath of the Wild made it more Skyrim, but the dungeons are ass and all look the same. Yeah, I didn't really like that. And, you know, it's no big deal. I just, once, I don't know, it was like I did the main area, and then I almost beat Ganon on the first run by just, like, going up to it. And then after that, the fact that, I don't know, I just lost interest. Like, I just was like, I don't want to, you know, I don't know. Have I tried Monster Hunter? I did a little bit, yeah, but Monster Hunter's gameplay in its current form is very much Dark Souls. It's a very polished and good Dark Souls style game, and I have friends that are obsessed with Monster Hunter. They love it. I just, you know, I don't know, the hack and slash shit anymore just like doesn't, I don't know, there's something about it that just doesn't strike a chord with me as much anymore. Everything's just Dark Souls. Everything's Dark Souls, Dark Souls. I've had enough of fucking Dark Souls. Love, welcome back for 3 months. Hey, Cutie Pie, I love the last member's vid. Thanks for sharing. You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for watching. I chased it around front, knowing they'd have to stop to lift up the bar, but I wasn't fast enough and they got away. I figured it was a bunch of drug addicts coming to steal whatever they could get their hands on, but then a couple of nights later, when I saw another car, I caught quite a sight after creeping up on one. Now 2 teenagers, a boy and a girl, trading kisses like it was their last night on Earth, and all I wanted to do was tell them to move on, but they were so embarrassed they took off like a couple of frightened... What the fuck is that? Javelinas. I took off like a couple of frightened javelinas. I gotta actually hear how this is said so I can say it as such. Oh my god. Javelina. Oh, wait. What the fuck? Dude, my computer like briefly froze. That was fucking crazy. Javelina. Alright, whatever. Bottom line, we need GTA 6 to come out. Yeah, I probably will love the shit out of that. I'm actually kind of sad. After all the years of GTA 5 being out, I don't think I've ever fully beaten it. I've gotten really far, but I don't think I've ever just completely beaten it before. All I wanted to do was tell them to move on, but they were so embarrassed they took off like a couple of frightened javelinas. The closest town was a real conservative Catholic kind of place, and a lot of those kids' fathers were plant employees. This meant they didn't want word of their heavy petting spreading around the local. This meant that they didn't want word of their actions spreading around the locker rooms, and usually all it took was a wave of my flashlight and the cars would disappear like magic. But then came the time when my magic trick didn't work, and when I shined my flashlight on a trespassing car, it didn't move. I figured it was only a matter of time before I got some pushback from some of the kids. Word of a good old makeout spot spread.
We're going to Makeout Point, bruh. See you there.
GTA will have fully interactable malls? Oh, like, wait, really? How do you know? Are you in it, Justin? Don't lie. Don't lie. You bought a PS5 Pro just for GTA 6? Oh yeah, I wonder if you should have waited. Or I guess the price was going to go up. Maybe they were trying to pressure people to get it earlier. Hell yes, my fellow, let's go make out mountain and do illegal things. Hell yeah. Word of a good makeout spot spread fast among high schoolers back then. Hell, it probably still does today. So I figured the sooner or later I'd get a couple of kids who just wouldn't leave at the sight of my flashlight. Now I walked towards the car, giving them a friendly warning about how they didn't have to go home, but they couldn't stay there. And the engine was off, and I figured the sound of my voice would have it starting up, but it didn't. I was walking up to the back of the car, and since I could see that there were people inside through the rear window, I called out again and asked them to leave. It feels dumb saying it now, but when they didn't respond that time... Oh my god, I don't know why this one's tough to follow. It feels dumb to say it now, but when they didn't respond that time either, I got kind of frustrated. And then as I walked up on that passenger window, I yelled out, "Hey, I'm talking to you." But the kids inside that old car couldn't hear a word I was saying, because both of them were dead. The boy in the driver's seat was only sitting upright because the wire he'd been strangled with was tied to the headrest. His tongue was out, and his face and hands looked bright blue in the beam of my flashlight. The girl next to him looked like she'd been stabbed in the side of the neck, and there was a ton of dried blood all over her left side and all over the center console too. It was the worst thing I'd ever seen in my life, not just because of how bloody it was or how I hadn't expected to find the two bodies, but because their eyes were wide open when I found them. The girls were half closed, she looked sleepy, but the boys were almost bulging out of their sockets, and that final look of death terror was preserved for me to see. I ran to the plant security office and called the cops, and then a short while later, a single officer drove over from the town precinct to check out what I'd reported. By the time my shift ended, the back of the plant surrounding the car was a crime scene, with a bunch of cops all walking around while a police photographer took pictures of the bodies. The guy replacing me was asking if I was alright because he must have seen how shaken up I was. I told him I was fine. I just needed a day off to drink and forget. But as much as I tried, I couldn't shake the image of those two kids sitting in that car. And after that, every time I did a foot patrol around the plant, I'd find myself lingering near the spot that I used to find those cars, and it took me a while to face up to it, but I was truly haunted by what I... Guys, it's almost over the garden wall season. What's that? Is that something from the UK? You guys don't even want to talk to me anymore. You guys just want to talk to each other. I'm just here to just fill the noise while you guys have an AIM chat room going on. After that, every time I did a foot patrol around the plant, I'd find myself lingering near the spot I used to find those cars. You're here for me? Oh, okay. You tried talking to me? What did you say? I don't remember. A Cartoon Network miniseries? Cartoon Network still exists? That's a relief. Do I have houseplants? I used to have that grass that Pradeep would chew on. He asked about my football team. I can't tell you. You'll hate me forever. Oh, it's from 2009. Are they like bringing it back? This cartoon. This animated series, you say? I blew him off. Basically, you told him to eat dirt and choke. You don't have to choke on it. You can eat it if you want. Don't just look at it. Eat it. I heard Gravity Falls was pretty cool. After that, every time I did a foot patrol around the plant, I'd find myself lingering near the spot I used to find the cars. And it took me a while to face up to it, but I was truly haunted by what I saw that night. I found a security job someplace else in the months that followed, then about a year later, I moved to Arizona with my heavily pregnant wife. Tucson is crazy in its own way, but it's my home now, and while all kinds of terrible stuff happens on this side of the border too, I actually have faith that the police want to do something about the crimes that happen here. I made him pay to talk to me? No, dude, I promise. Ain't no paywall here. You can just like say things and I'll be looking at them and I'll be like, hey, what do you say? A regular show in Cardena would love watching. Like, yeah, it's a good show. It's a good ass show, man. Imagine explaining Gravity Falls to people who've never watched it. Yeah, I don't know if I would understand. But you can do your best. And while all kinds of terrible stuff happens on this side of the border too, I actually have faith that the police want to do something about the crimes that happen here, and I can't say that for my country of birth. It seems odd to think that seeing something so terrible was the start of my journey to the US, but it also reminds me of something my abuelita used to say when I was growing up. She used to say, "No hay mal que por bien no venga," which means there is no evil from which good does not come. I've literally been watching a regular show for the last 6 months straight over and over on repeat. I can't get enough. That's awesome. I want that. I want that in my life. Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury is the game I'm strangely looking forward to at one point, but I need to buy a Nintendo to make this a thing, but I have beaten most 3D Mario. Yeah, how is Bowser's Fury? Is it good? Would you ever do a deep dive into Elon and other topics you go on a rant about? I actually did do the deep dive into Elon one time, and we found that it was like some strange connection between like his family and like those emerald mines in South Africa, and how like the emerald mines were supposedly some type of money laundering scheme related to like the Rothschild banking family or some shit, and how Elon almost seems like he was like chosen to basically like represent these like DARPA projects that, I don't know. He just like his, because like then he also didn't do well in school and didn't even graduate school and went to like Stanford, which like Stanford is where all like the DARPA projects seem to come out of. And then he went to Stanford for like 2 weeks and dropped out, and then got connected with the PayPal mafia, if you're familiar with them. And then from like PayPal, they transferred over to like the Boring Company and like the rockets and the underground tunnels and, you know, electric cars and, you know, self-driving car. Yeah, I mean, there's just like, I don't know. There's so much about it that just seems like they were all like patents that existed with DARPA first. And then I don't know if maybe Elon's a robot. I kind of have a feeling that he might be a robot. He might not be. He also might just be like MK Ultra brain controlled, you know what I'm talking about? Where he thinks that he's like a thing, but he's not really. I don't know. There's just something very strange about him as a person and his like abstract connections, and like why with like no experience is he like in charge of like rockets? People sit there and say he's a genius, but it's like, is he really? I don't know. I think I'm going to bed myself. Now, y'all, see ya. Good to see you guys. I remember the episode. He doesn't even look human. He looks very odd. I just feel like him and Mark Zuckerberg and probably a few others are probably like him, and like Peter Thiel as well. I don't know. There's something about them that just seems quite off. Almost like they're like Generation 1 cyborgs, if that makes sense. Like they just seem very, very, like they can be programmable, but also look like synths, like the synthetic men. He licks his own eyeballs. Yeah, he could be lizard people. You never know. My ex actually came out to me because of years. She said, "I'm not your boyfriend like Chowder." She was presented as soon as it came out. I was like, I don't know. If I crochet you something, do you have a P.O. box? I don't. I'm sorry, but I appreciate it. You can, yeah, they're literally clankers. Clankors. Elon is the epitome of, actually, yeah. I mean, his, like, whole, I don't know, the whole persona is so cringe. Like, why is he always, like, so far, like, if he's, for a guy that spends all his time on the internet, he's always, like, the most boomer fucking meme lord ever. Like, the memes that he, like, gets into are always, like, 4 or 5 months behind. The clue clanks. Oh, my God. She used to say, "There is no evil from which good does not..." Yeah, legalized comedy. I mean, yeah, it's like, he's saying legalized comedy, like, just so, like, way... Yeah, it's very Redditor shit, but it's, like, way late. She used to say, "There is no evil from which good does not come." Too much ketamine, thinks he can still keep up with all the kids. I mean, it probably doesn't... who knows, man? I don't know anything. Literally do not know anything about anything. These people just exist. Like, why do we even talk about them? Like, why do we even... Like, why is he even, like, in our face? Do you ever wonder that? Why are these certain characters just always in your face all the time? Why do they get chosen as, like, the important business Blillion Blairs, you know what I mean, with lots of money? Like, why do you have to know about them all the time? Isn't there, like, a bunch of other ones, too, that maybe... isn't there... Like, what about... How come they don't talk about generals? They should put a bunch of, like, important generals in your face all the time and make us talk about them. Was that story 2? That was story 4 of 6. Talk to the general and save some time. He's as smart as Adrian Dittman. Who's Dittman? Larry Fink. Yeah, you don't ever hear about Larry Fink. Like, yeah, isn't that interesting when it comes to, like, finance people? Like, at the tippity, well, I don't know if he's the tippity top of the power structure, but you never hear about finance people. You never hear about bankers. I mean, you would assume that the individuals that control all facets of, like, finance and money would literally be the most influential and important folks you speak to, because, I mean, they're the ones essentially deciding who gets funding, who gets to do mergers, who gets to, you know, how culture plays out, all that kind of stuff. They have, like, such an astounding level of, like, influence. They can fund wars, they can fund war machines, they can fund whatever the fuck they want all the time, forever. And I just find that really strange. You're a fool if you think Elon is the mastermind and he actually does very little engineering. I know people who have worked for him. Yeah, I mean, it's strange. Does anyone remember Tony Robinson? Was he like the OG finance bro? I don't remember. I mean, I'm kind of stupid. I can follow like a chain of logic, but I'm not going to be digging too hard, to be honest with you. Ever going to trust Cybertruck, man, to put us in the rocket ships? I mean, dude, none of us are going, and I don't even want to go. Why would you ever want to go to Mars? It's like you're going to die from the radiation from space before you make it to another planet. And then once you get there, remember the Martian? He had to eat, was it one of you guys that told me he had to eat spuds that were grown on like shit? Like, why would you, like, at best, why would you ever want that, you know, in a situation in which there's like mild terraforming? I do know Tim Robinson, yeah. I was like kind of half watching the movie Friendship with Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd with my buddy. And there was some scenes in that I couldn't, like, I wasn't only half paying attention because I was like editing, and there was some scenes in that was so fucking funny. Remember George Washington? Now, he was badass. He was 6'4", and he, on Christmas Eve, went and like stabbed people to death. That's how you do it, baby. Just an absolute monster with wooden teeth. You remember going outside and touching grass and speaking to other human beings in person? Oh, it was so beautiful that day. Giant arm catching the rocket. On like the return descent that we're talking about? Whatever. What the fuck do I know about anything? I don't. None of us do. And that's fine. We can just, you know, get our paychecks and shit in the... We shit in the toilet. What do? We wake up, we eat gross shit. We shit in the toilet. We go to the gym and like make ourselves sweat in some sort of strange like dystopian simulation of like activity. Isn't that like fucking weird? Like someone made a great point. Like we always worship the gym all the time, but the gym is like the most dystopian, futuristic crap I'd ever heard. Now I get it. It helps. It does benefit one. But the fact that we literally have to like simulate resistance training and cardiovascular activity because there's just like nothing else left, while you look around and other people are just like taking a machine and like moving their biceps up and down like like shut up, fucking weirdo. That's me, but still, everybody else sucks worse than me. It is the human hamster wheel. Back when I was still a college student and living in dorms, I woke up in the middle of the night one time to hear an argument unfolding outside my window. It wasn't super loud or anything, but it was literally right there outside my window, and since it was a warm night and I kept my window open, it woke me up. Now my first thought was to tell whoever it was to shut the hell up, because it was like 3 a.m. and I had classes the next morning. But after I overheard what they were fighting about, the gossip in me suddenly wanted to listen. It was a boy and girl arguing, mostly in very hushed tones, but every so often the tension would rise, and so would their voices, before one shushed the other back to just whispering. And at first I thought they were a couple, and then I realized that they were an ex-couple, and that the boy was basically pleading with the girl for them to get back together. He kept apologizing for something he hadn't told her, but she didn't want to hear it. She called him disgusting, said he should be ashamed of himself, and that she never wanted to talk to him ever again. My voice cracked. Gotta go to the gym because there's not enough enrichment in our cages. Yeah, I mean, I guess in many ways it's just up to us if we want to exist in a cage lifestyle. What would be your ideal lifestyle, honestly? I think we as humans are kind of like geared to be in like one little 4x4 spot forever. So what's your favorite personal gain from the gym? Mine is that I could absolutely crush something with my thighs and can finally do a mile in less than 15 minutes. Nice, yeah. I mean, I guess like when it came to my lifting, like being able to like squat 500 pounds was pretty sick. That was like my best, you know. And then I did my bench. I was able to get up to 3 plates, which was cool. In my deadlift, I got over to 500 or like 505. I mean, so it was just like strength stuff, I suppose. I mean, honestly, I would say probably like power cleaning 315, 3 wheels, as they say, was really cool. It was insane. It was genuinely insane to just like something that's like some people's deadlift, to be able to just like pick it up really fast, drop under it, and then like front squat it up. It just like required a lot of everything all at one time. Joel, you're landing on the sun with me and Justin. Yeah, I'll be there, baby. I was saying that yesterday in Helldivers, the like place we were like crashing into was so bright. I'm like, holy shit, Helldiver, you're going to the sun. Sir, yes, sir. Sir, saying you can squat these thighs. Oh yeah. Thunder thighs. Love working my hands and using my brain. Interesting. Like solving puzzles. I lifted some heavy-ass car jack at work the other day, and I impressed myself, like 125 pounds on the back of a truck. That's pretty sick. Yeah, you should definitely try to get into the gym just to strengthen yourself so you're like not hurting yourself when you have to be in those weird positions and shit. She said, what the fuck? He kept apologizing for something he hadn't told her, but she didn't want to hear it. She called him disgusting, said he should be ashamed of himself, and that he never wanted to talk to him ever again. She said that, but there she was, still talking to him, and doing it outside my dorm at 3 a.m. too. That had me thinking that they were both as bad as one another, one of those toxic couples that shouldn't be together but can't seem to separate. But since the tea was being spilled, I guess I was going to drink it. And after pulling back the curtains a little bit, I peeked out from around them, trying to figure out what each party was. I thought it, or who each party was. I lift dough balls that weigh like 75 pounds on the daily, so Jim helped me work stuff. Yeah, that's good. You could probably go to a gym or buy something where it's like those sandbags, you know what I'm talking about, that when you fill them up, they can weigh anywhere from 75 pounds to like 300 pounds as they get bigger. That could probably help your core strength a lot. They do that in like strongman shit. What the hell was that? Lift your head off the pillow. It's a start. 10-pound skull crushers. After pulling back the curtains just a little, I peeked out from around them, trying to figure out who each party was. I thought I recognized the girl's voice from somewhere, so she had to be living in one of the nearby dorms, but I didn't recognize the boy's voice at all, so I tried getting a look at both of them to see who they were. It was dark outside, and the couple were standing right at the edge of the parking lot. They weren't all the way lit up by the streetlights, and the boy half of the couple had his back to me. So without being able to ID them, I just kind of kept on watching from my window and listening into what they were talking about, but all they did was go round and round in circles. Now the boy was trying to explain something in a very low voice, and then in a slightly louder one, the girl would then respond, "I hate you. You disgust me. If I've ever known who you really were, I'd have never dated you." And it seemed like the guy had something that he didn't want people to know, which was why he was always the quieter one. But the girl knew it, and was absolutely letting him have it. Then, as she went off on some rant about how gross he was, he wheeled around in frustration like he was about to walk off. But he didn't walk off. Instead, he turned back and punched the girl in the face as hard as he could. And the impact was loud, and the noise that the girl made when he hit her was so upsetting that I just gasped and held a hand over my mouth as she fell to the ground. The boy leaned over her and looked like he was about to hit her some more, so I kind of got up on my tiptoes so I could yell at the window, and I remember saying, "Hey, leave her alone, you piece of crap." I guess he didn't realize how he was being watched that whole time, because the second he did, the boy started running off towards his car and then took off driving like some crazy person. Now, my yelling woke up some of the fellow students, and they were pissed to be woken up when they had classes in the morning. But all it took was me yelling them. All it took was me yelling them. He's loco, ese. He's gone crazy. Hey, Julian Cadano, I think I missed your membership. Welcome, friend. Good to see you. Oh, also, I don't have my chat set to live chat. I'm sorry. The emotion put into storytelling is unmatched. You're loco, ese. You piece of crap. Well, I didn't want to yell, because, like, I don't know. You piece of crap. If I yelled, it would, like, peak the mic and... Want me to ship you back a Japanese girlfriend? Yeah, if you could, Justin, that'd be cool. Thank you, bro. Send that, then I'll open a P.O. box for that. But all it took was me telling them what happened, and they came running too. I figured the boy had knocked the girl clean out with that punch, but when he ran outside, we found her having some kind of seizure. And that was one of the scariest things I'd seen in my whole life, because I was convinced that she'd hit her head on the concrete and was going to die as a result. Thankfully, the girl survived with just a concussion, and her ex-boyfriend ended up getting arrested. But the whole thing that made a lasting impression on me... Yeah, if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, he'll have a waifu, pillow, full size. But the whole thing made a lasting impression on me, and even all these years later, I still think about that girl and how sickening the noise she made was. But the whole thing that made a lasting impression on me, and even all these years later, was still thinking about that girl and how sickening the noise was that she made after she got punched. Punched. She got sorry. She had fart. Yeah, it was the fart that he could smell from up in his room. You the man, Joel. Thanks, dude. Good to see you. We got one more story, guys. Pretty quick one here, but I'm gonna go take my magnesium and I'll BRB, but please do talk amongst yourselves and I shall return. caught red-handed with all of your wieners in your hands. Wiener-handed. You've been caught wiener-handed. Oh my god, bro. I'm like actually been hit. You know, like when you get hit with the thing that you're dealing with out of nowhere. Close the zipper. Zoop. Zoop-de-doop. Am I referring to the Korn concert? I don't think so. Bro, we pranked you so good, bro. You didn't even know. Bro, you should have seen the look on your face, bro. Dang, bro. What'd you do? We poked you with an AIDS needle, bro. You have no idea. It's gonna hit you in like 30 years. You're gonna feel so weird. A lawsuit. No, I'm not, you know, I just thinking about that gym. I don't know. I need to like, I put all the money into it, right? And then now, like the guy who I like put in charge to run it, you put COVID in me, you son of a gun. The guy that put in charge to run it, it's like, he's like, hey, we're 5 months behind. 5 months. Like, how did that get past me? I have no idea. I've been like woefully like misled. So crazy. Rehash the trauma. Yeah, so like I bought a gym, right? And I put a lot of money into it, right? And the individual that wanted to, you know, basically do the gym, essentially, you know, I trusted him and he had a lot of experience like managing those kinds of things, coaching, all that kind of stuff. And hey, see you, Beth. Have a good night. Yeah, we'll figure it out, but it's just one of those things where I'm like, fuck, man. Anyways, like, we're about almost 2 years in, haven't hit profit yet, but things are okay. And as far as I knew, I thought we were like just barely scraping by kind of deal. But I mean, I was like kind of like this, you know, side investor, so it's like really not my place to like be managing it external from like coming in with some ideas to generate more revenue or whatever. I do own all the equipment, yes, and you know, I put up all the money, you know, for it, but he was like running it for X percentage or whatever ownership in the business. And then for him to like come out of nowhere telling me that like he's 3 months behind on his home payment, 3 months behind on his car payment, all these issues at home, and then now we're 5 months behind on, and I'm just thinking like, if this, I don't even know. I don't know. It is insane. But it's like 5 months of, at the least for the size of the gym is like bonkers money. You know what I mean? 5 months build up. 1 month to be like, okay, let's get this figured out and get shit in line. But like 5 months is like, what the fuck? Then you sell the equipment, right? I guess, I mean, my thought is like, maybe the landlord will like allow us out of the lease just by like handing over all the stuff, and because I can't imagine like 3 more years of just like basically an unprofitable brick and mortar business type thing. It's like YouTube, the fact that it worked out is great. Oh, hey Duchess, what's up? But it's like, it's also, as you can tell, it's all digital stuff. Like I don't host any of it. I don't, you know, there's very little overhead. I think she canceled my yikes so early. Go to bed. Sounds like he doesn't know how to manage his money, and it's their fault, not yours. I mean, it's not my fault, but it's my fault in the fact that I like chose him, and now I'm like culpable, and you know, both of our names is on the lease, so it's like, I don't know, I'm basically at the mercy of the landlord on whether or not we can. I don't know. He seems to be under the interpretation that even though he's 5 months behind, that somehow we can save this. And I'm like, what the fuck? I know. I'm going to have like multiple people look into it to figure out what we do next. I will in like an hour unless the stream ends soon. No, it's all good. We got one more story left. Sounds like a bad person with money. He is, and he's just like, I just never knew it was like this bad. And there's also still like, there's also a part of me that's like curious to what extent, if he's ever been like skimming stuff off the top or whatever. But I guess if he's behind on his mortgage, I mean, that's the thing is like, because there's so many troubles at home, I can only assume that you pull money out of the business as well. I don't even know, man. The whole thing is just like, how the fuck did this not get communicated with me? That's on pure faith. That's a pretty poor business partnership practice. Yeah, 100%. That was, and honestly, it was stupid. I take full responsibility of my own decision to trust somebody that was not the right person for the job, and to just like, I don't know. But you learn a lot there. But it's more so like the fact that it was all the initial investment up front, and then the fact that I'm essentially culpable for the remainder of this lease and however that transpires. And I don't know. IDK. If you send me 1 million, I'll send you 3 million back. Alright, let's try it. What advice would you give a friend in your position? I mean, everybody else I've talked to is just like, get the fuck out. Like, sell it to someone, get the fuck out. My one friend is like thinking that he's like criminally liable to an extent. Gyms were more popular during COVID than the first year out. Yeah, but what advice would you give? I mean, my first instinct is basically to talk to the landlord and say to him like, hey, we're fucked. Like, we're fucked behind. I don't know why I don't even know why you allowed him to go 5 months without paying you, without talking to me about it, because he misled me. And right now I need to get out of this lease. I need all of us to get out of this lease. You can have all this equipment, which is worth well beyond whatever it is, and just do what you could. I mean, I could sue him, but it's like suing a homeless guy is like not... It's like, what do you get? His fucking old needles under a bridge? Yeah, it was quite sketch. I don't know. I'm dumb. I should have thought it out before. And honestly, I don't know if I'll ever again do any sort of business with like a friend or family or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I want to invest in my milk business. Do I have to come over and milk you every night? I'm here for my milk. How do I feel about killer tofu? Oh, you. Killer tofu. It's a good song. As a business owner myself, I would recommend hiring a forensic accountant. Yeah, if you have any suggestions on where to find someone like that, I think that would be ideal. But I'm almost wondering myself, like, would it make sense to do the forensics accountant stuff now? Because I'm also thinking it's like, you got a few options. You can talk to the landlord, get out of the lease while renegotiating things while taking a massive loss, get a forensics accountant, which could be pretty costly on top of the losses already, right? And then does that count as like, legal advice as well for contracts? But then also, is it possible to get, like salvage the business in the sense of get a plan going that generates such a degree of revenue that it makes a comeback? I don't know, man. I wouldn't give up all the equipment ASAP. That stuff's worth so much. Like, obviously, yeah, go for it, but don't like all up front. But yeah, no, for sure. I just need to run it by that guy. I mean, he seemed like the landlord. I've really only spoken to him a few times, but I guess one of his first ever businesses was running a gym as well. Hence why he knew it was like difficult and uncertain about like leasing it to a gym. So, be curious to see his perspective on how to proceed. Tell him to sell his house and car and live in the gym. I think that's the weirdest thing is I feel like there was like, from him telling me about it, I feel like he was almost implying that I was supposed to just like pay for his mortgage to keep him housed or something. And it was just like, what? We're 5 months behind on rent? Like that's like multiple of your mortgages just for like one fucking month, you know, and like times 5, and then I don't even know. There's just so much shit. Hire a business attorney and a forensics accountant just to be safe, I guess. Yeah, it's I really didn't expect to fucking have to, I don't know. It's like you come in as a silent investor hoping this like entrepreneurial spirit could make headways in some kind of interesting, you know, hobby that I had that was interesting. Yeah, it is very trial and error. This is like probably the worst error I've ever made business-wise, though. Whatever. It is what it is. It's just so weird to think I'm like, fuck me, dude. I could have like used that and just bought a fucking investment property or something instead, and fucking stupid-ass gym. Yeah, what if I start the OnlyFans and then make it all back in a day? That's what I need to do. I need to sell my asshole online. Babes, thank you for the 5 gifters to Zephyraz, Athena K, Haley Smith, Nunya, and Lit Gaming 999. Like, buddy, there's the last thing I'd want my boss to know. A, it makes me look incompetent, and B, it makes me a likely suspect. Yeah, you aren't foolish for not being able to predict the future. Well, I probably could have predicted the future just because every person that's ever given advice on business has been like, don't do a gym. And I just, for some reason, ignored their predictive advice. But yeah, it is what it is. We'll get it figured out. Maybe this will be the fun part, figuring out how to negotiate my way out of a big stinking mess. An attorney can recommend an accountant. Don't feel bad, John. I once had a production company with 2 partners that blew up in my face. You learn from experience when it comes to business. Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, yeah. Accountant, attorney, and accountant. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, let's figure this out. I appreciate that. What got you into reading horror stories? I just wanted to do a YouTube channel, and this seemed like the easiest route to do it, you know what I mean? Yeah, my new Let's Read story on Reddit. I had a non-communicative partner that cost me lots of money. Do you think it would have been better if you went the food route instead of gym? I mean, well, I don't know if that would have been a headache too, but it would have been sick to like set up like, I mean, one of my favorite things is just like diners, right? I mean, how cool would like a 24/7 like diner where you could just get whatever you wanted from the menu at all hours of the day, right? That's like actually good and not dog shit. But yeah. How long have I had this business? We're about to finish up year 2, so any updates on Diner Girl? Oh no, yeah, it was just I saw her at the gym, which was hilarious. I was like, oh, I guess she goes here. And then I just ignored her, and she ignored me, so whatever. It's your birthday, Chan. Happy birthday, dude. What are you gonna do? She wants me so bad. Yeah, I asked her out. She said no, and then she started stalking me, which would be kind of cool. I wouldn't mind it, I guess. All right, guys. Last story, y'all. To preface this story, I need to explain something about the room I work and sleep in. It's a ground floor room at the front of a terraced townhouse. There's a small garden just outside my window, which has There's a small garden just outside my window, which is a huge set of 3 bay windows. The left and right windows open from the bottom. This means when it's unpleasantly hot, which is a lot of the time in the UK lately, there's basically an opening in my room at a height that someone could simply step over and into the room. This isn't normally a problem because I work nights, so I'd only be asleep in the room in the middle of the day. Any other time, who would climb into an occupied room? And even if they were going to, I'd hear and see them open the garden gate and then walk up the garden path to my window. Someone breaking in through the window while I'm in the room just didn't seem like a likely or plausible scenario. That is, until a series of events played out that led to exactly this happening. One other thing I need to explain first is I don't have curtains hung on these windows. The garden blocks in the view from the street, and
The garden blocks the views from the streets.
You got to tell me, brave captain, why are the wicked so strong? Well, I guess that they're just survivors, you know? Do anything to survive. And sometimes you gotta be a little bad. What's the most embarrassing thing you've done on a first date? First date, embarrassing. I guess just like one time I showed up without like any pants or underwear on, so I just like had a polo t-shirt and my cock hanging out. I was like, oh fuck, I knew I forgot something. Well, anyways. What do you think, sweetheart? Will you marry me? The garden blocks the view from the street, and when the windows were replaced, I just never paid to get... God damn it. God damn it, I can't fucking read. I quit reading. I'm gonna throw away. I showed up as moist critical, yeah. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, sorry, I forgot underwear and pants, so... Yeah, I don't know. If you want to start sucking now, that's fine. Just get to the point. That's why we're both here, isn't it? Alright, have a good one. The garden blocks the view from the street, and when the windows were replaced, I just never paid to get new... I can't fucking read, mate. Fucking hell. That's about it. Yeah. Moist critical jizzes in 3 seconds, and she's like, is that it? And he's like, yeah, that's about it. See ya. And he jumps out the window. Rex, what's up, bro? You're in a dilemma, how come? What's your dilemma? Pam Beasley. I didn't see where it started, but I saw where it ended. Mr. Siegel from Here, Attack and Vine. Listen to Tom Waits' People, or else I'll move from the corner of the bedlam and squalor. Boy, what you talking about? You're drunk, okay. No worries, no worries. Fair enough, fair enough. Can't really sleep and I smoke weed daily. I've been trying to cut down, but I really want one. Yeah. Maybe you can do some stretches or something. It might tire you out. Do some push-ups. Push-ups and stretches. The garden blocks the view from the street, and when the windows were replaced, I just never paid to get new curtains put up because I literally never used them. I hate having the air into the room blocked, and I hate blocking out the natural light. When I sleep in the daytime, I use a sleep mask, so I just didn't need curtains. Then one day, the council replaced the street light right outside my window. What used to be a warm orange glow was replaced by a harsh spotlight white that completely illuminates my entire front garden and shines essentially a floodlight in through my window. They're supposed to fit these street lights out with rear guards to prevent light pollution of personal property, but they just haven't. We've complained, all the street lights in my cul-de-sac are like this, but they never did anything. So what I did was, I bought a canvas-printed fold-out screen, and it seemed like a perfect option. I can open and close it, move it at will, and shield whichever parts of the room I want, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper and less committal than hanging curtains. This worked great for a couple of years until one day, very recently, there was a pop outside my window. I was sitting on the chair against the other wall of the room facing the screen when the pop happened.
Pop. It's like a pop. You open a jar of pickles, it's like a pop. It's gotta have a pop to it.
In Canada, we sometimes pronounce DUIs as Deweys. I think we say that here too, you got a Dewey. But it's, I guess, a little bit more informal. In Canada, if there's a pop outside when you have to be blessed by the can of soda. The blessed, holy Dr. Pepper. Father Pepper. Start a ladies' night every Thursday night at the gym except spa, manicures, pedicures, $20. And it's just me and the ladies. It's me, Hassan Piker, and a bunch of ladies. I was sitting on the chair against the other wall of the room facing the screen when the pop happened. It took me a moment to realize that the street light outside had blown. Hey, fine by me. That annoying POS had been dazzling me with its overly bright bulb shining in my room for years now, and I wasn't going to shed a tear for it just because it blew up. When my entire power shut off an hour later, though, then I wasn't happy. I sat there in pitch-perfect darkness for a bit. Eventually, I could hear the sound of drilling and clanking from a few blocks away, and soon realized that they were obviously doing some kind of electrical work. The last time this happened in my street unprompted, the power had been out for 2 hours. This was in the early evening. This was in the middle of the night, just past midnight, and I didn't have a torch nearby or anything. I just had my cell phone with 48% battery. I tried to read Superman comic. Superman comic. Well, you're still going? It's 8 a.m. here in the UK. Aren't you guys like 3 a.m.? Yeah, it's 3:20, and we're still banging. Your clock is ahead. Oh, did they move the clocks back already? I'm on the East Coast, so it's 3:20. Oh, man. I need to be broken. Like bone-wise. Just squeezed and all things cracked and then returned to baseline. It's only 3:15. Huh. Wonder why my computer clock is 4 minutes ahead. That's kind of strange. Usually computer clocks are like good. But phone clock does say 3:15. It's 13. Oh my god, we're all in different areas. Different twilight zones. Joel, I got you. Okay, I'm listening. Oh, as far as squeezing me goes, okay. Sorry. I tried to read a Superman comic by the light of my phone for a bit, but it was a strain on the eyes. You see, I'm disabled and not too steady on my feet, so I don't really want to go walking around the pitch-dark house in the middle of the night either. So eventually I shut my phone off, put the Superman book on the side table, and just sort of relaxed in the chair. I have no idea how long I'd been asleep when I woke back up. The power was still off, and for a second, I forgot why it was so perfectly pitch dark. When you're used to constant light pollution to some degree, having the power for your entire street go off is really eerie, especially when you can't see 2 feet in front of you, which means you can't see what's making that scraping and dragging sound. I listened hard. I listened hard. I could vaguely move in front of me with a whole screen falling over. I thought Yosemite was in the middle of the states. Where is Yosemite, Wyoming? Yosemite. Oh, California. I didn't know that. Damn. It's in Middle Earth. Do you think the Hulk is ticklish? I hope so. And then he just like, kind of like, he like flexes one ab and you get launched into the air. You listen to my other channel discussing mountain hiking terror. What's my other channel? The Saturn Soul one? I listened hard. I could vaguely see movement in front of me. Was the screen falling over? No, crap, no. It was being folded back. In the pitch dark, in the middle of the night, someone had climbed in through my window while I was asleep, and they were now in the small space in between the screen and the window itself. I strained really hard to make out whatever I could. I thought I could see a hand wrapped around the edge of the screen, but it was almost impossible to tell. Even as the screen folded back and exposed the room to the meager light of the crescent moon, I barely had any more light. But it was enough to see that yes, someone had in fact climbed through the window and were carefully moving the screen aside. The moon had slightly lit them up, but I was still in total darkness on the chair. My heart was absolutely hammering in my chest, and I had no idea what kind of thief this was. They could have a weapon. It could be a knife. They seemed thin and of average height, and they took a shaky step or two into the room, and I could tell that they were looking about as if trying to make out a route. My room is pretty cluttered. They hear me coming. You want to live in Truckee? Where's that? Can I pay for you to move provinces? Where are you gonna go? Am I the asshole for smoking out my window at 4 a.m. and having some guy in the dark? What the fuck? This is ridiculous. Check your life. Wait, what'd you say? Am I the a-hole for smoking out my window at 4 a.m. and having some guy say in the dark, what the fuck? This is ridiculous. Check your life. I don't think so. Why is he offended by smoke if it's not even indoors? It seems strange. It was scary. He is projecting. He's projecting his entire body into your room, into your bed with you. My room is pretty cluttered, being charitable, so almost immediately they reached out and brushed a table. Then I heard the scraping of their foot nudging a box. There was no way that I was going to sit there in the dark and wait until they noticed and stabbed me. I had one single option, and I hoped to God that if I took it. I had one. God damn it. If I had one superpower, what's one superpower you would have? You get one, and yes, everyone knows. I guess just being able to have access to the women's bathroom would be so cool. My room is pretty cluttered, being charitable, so almost immediately they reached out and brushed a table. Then I heard the scraping of their foot nudging a box. There was no way I was going to sit there in the dark and wait until they noticed and stabbed me. I had one single option, and I hoped to God that if I took it, things would play out. Hey, Lucina, what's up, dude? Putting on my most terrifying horror creator voice, sitting completely in the dark on my chair, I growled, "Get out, before you can't live to regret it." Here it was. Either I'd succeeded, or I was about to get brained or stabbed or worse. This figure just jerked and clattered against something, and absolutely... God, I can't read. Why did all men want to watch us take a shite? Why not? It's like, what an honor, you know? Just like living in the tube system. The figure jerked and clattered against something and absolutely hooned it out the open. I don't know what the fuck hooned is. Dude, is that your regular voice? It's so soothing. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, well, my reading voice is but my talking voice is, I guess, more hoonly. The figure jerked and clattered against something and absolutely hooned it out of the open window. Christ, poor guy. I think I scared him even more than he'd scared me, and immediately I ran to the window, knocking on my phone flashlight and shining it down on the street. He looked like some kind of older teenager, maybe, as he legged it down the street and around the corner. I didn't bother calling the cops or anything. Maybe I should have, but I know that they wouldn't have done anything because all he did really was briefly enter my property and then leave. At that moment, as I saw someone peering around my screen in the damn darkness, though, I've never been more afraid in my life. And hot damn, I'm definitely going to be a lot more careful with leaving the window open going forward. Oh, shit. Oh, I'm about to hoon it, baby. I'm about to get hooned up. Hello, everyone. It's been a very long time. Hope you all been well. Hello, Joe. It's nice to hear you again. Yeah. Oh, Venus Flytrap. What the shit? What's up, dude? You came just in time for the end of the stream. I'm about to read the outro and get everyone on out of here, back to their jobs. Hoo-wee. Done already. We've been going for, it's almost 4 hours. Pretty solid time, though, I'd say. Happy to pop in and say hello. Anyway, yeah, good to see you. You don't want to go? I mean, I guess we could hang for a little bit, but I got nothing left to say, to be honest, unless you can absolutely bait me into something. But you should also think of something funny for me to say, please. And thanks. This is a little mouse saying Flavor Flav. Can't really hear what they're saying, but he's saying Flavor Flav. You can just be quiet. I guess that's true. I could just sit here and I could all think for a little while. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and there are super fun live streams on Sundays and Wednesday nights. If you got a story, be sure to submit them over at my email at letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks for members of the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories and big compilations located anywhere you listen to podcasts. I also have a true crime channel called Saturn Soul. All links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, you could actually set scheduled live streams and the chat will still be available. Oh, like prior to the live stream or something? When would you say this vid is going to drop? Also, you're driving and night stories are the best to me. Oh yeah, those are good. I think I have some of those coming up soon, honestly. Yeah, so every new video every Monday and Thursday, which, yeah, don't invest in a gym. That's actually brilliant. Perfect and poignant. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, don't invest in a gym. Oh, fuck. S-Love Kitten Boo. Welcome to the Buttersuck Hall. You now have access to bonus content. How many gifters did we get tonight? Maybe I should match them. Should I match them? Should I match them, chat? What do you think? Should I give you guys a bunch of stuff? A bunch of free coins? God, it briefly makes me have to listen to my own voice, and I feel sick. Let's see, membership gifting. I think we had 10. I don't know, I'm just gonna guess. Free goobly goop. Everybody gets one goobly goop. Only thing you should be benching is a gym ownership. Love you too, Katie. Good to see you. Am I unapproachable? Let's see. Let's take a look at you. Do you want like guys or girls? I'll tell you. Oh, that's a good picture you got here. Wonder if I can find it on Google and cross-reference it and find where you live. Just kidding. It's a pretty approachable face, I guess. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Do you wanna play mini golf with us? We need an extra. That's what they'd say. And you would say, mini golf. I only play mega golf. You ever heard of it? Not really. You're like, you spit in their face. You say Haktua. Hit him right in the head, but the velocity is so fast, it's like the kid gets shot in the head with a .22 caliber bullet. What do I think about stream avatars? What do you mean, stream avatars? Like what do they call VTubers and stuff? Hawktua fell off. Dude, Hawktua never fell off. She lives rent-free in my head forever. She also still owes me money for her crypto scheme, so I will find her. Oh, shit. Hawk tuna. Well, dudes, thanks for chilling. Appreciate you as always. I'll keep you posted on whether I go bankrupt or not. And I will get this up and edited over on Patreon. It's only $1 a month over there if you'd like to support me or get early access to all the bonus or all the content in general. But yeah, I will also if you can, it would really helps if you watch the YouTube videos right when it comes out. Hit that notification bell. It helps to give a nice little boosty boost. Bankrupt? Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I just need to figure my shit out. I really don't want to take a major loss on some stupid fucking thing that I was essentially doing as like a favor to a friend. So, fuck that, man. I need to figure something. I declare bankruptcy! How long does it take to edit? It's not too long. It's like maybe an hour or two for like the full video afterwards. Is it Sunday yet? Almost. But yeah, guys, thank you. Follow me on Instagram at letsread.official. Be kept up to date when I go live with my story or other stupid shit that I post on there. And then I will, YouTube 9 p.m. EST. Thank you, guys. Go follow Saturn Soul. Go follow the podcast. Love you. Appreciate you. Maybe we'll have like a cool graphic novel in the next year or something like that. That'd be kind of sick. Maybe finally get some pretty plushies. But otherwise, peace out, girl and boy scouts. I will see you guys in the next one. Okay. Goodbye.